to start things off tonight, I do have not one but two guests. So it is a very special edition of the stream tonight. My first guest is, you've seen him before on here, you've heard him before on here. He has moved on from Connecticut to bigger and better pastures, greener pastures for sure, but he's still the homie. He still is tapped in the NFL analysis game and the scouting game and just breaking his shit down brick by brick. You've seen him, you've heard him. Let's welcome back into the D Cindy podcast. Welcome him back into Timeline T to one, Stefan Sheffield. Steph, what's good, brother?
What's going on, my brother? How we doing today?
Oh, ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting here trying to figure out Kaepernick collusion with Shedeur. There's a lot of bad takes out there. We're gonna chop them all down because we are not here for the fuck shit. But always appreciative of you coming on the platform.
Hey, man, I always appreciate the invite. I'm always down to make a appearance on this great podcast, man.
For sure.
Again, y'all like, subscribe, do all that.
Appreciate that. And we have a, I won't say she's a rookie because she's not a rookie to doing content, but she's a rookie to coming on this platform. She is a producer, emphasis on producer. She knows what she's doing. In a few years or so, when you're watching the NBA Finals, she will be producing one of those games. So be on the lookout. You will hear this name ringing off for the very near future for a very long time after that. We're going to welcome in the one, Alicia Fonseca. Let me unmute you. I got you. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Thanks for
produce me.
having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you for tapping in.
I'm excited to be here. I love watching y'all, not me getting the invite.
You
Hey,
getting the invite
Lily.
and you pulling up right away too. Let's be clear. But I'm glad y'all are here because I would love to hear different voices because there's been so much going on with Shedeur Sanders and everything that happened with him. Supposed to be the second QB overall, second pick overall, and he goes all the way down to the 140s, 144, fifth round, Cleveland Browns. Walk me through y'all reactions as time went on. Steph, I'll start with you. When the Browns passed and then they traded down to get to five and let the Jazz get Travis Hunter, when did you start to think the Shedeur thing could be in play in this first round? Did you think once the Browns passed on him that it was going to be a wrap for Shedeur in the first round?
You know, you and I have talked about this many, many times about that team in New York. I want to go there first. And we said maybe they can change, but Sism always wins when it comes to that team in New York drafting black quarterbacks. So when they traded back into the first round, I was like, surely. And then we seen Jackson Dart. I was like, okay, okay. I'm gonna tell you when I knew this could happen, bro. When we saw the videos and people was talking about him patting the ball and that's gonna be his downfall in the NFL, I said, okay, they're setting us up for the Shador, downfall thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, when you trade the number two pick, I knew something was afoot then because that just didn't make sense. And to think that the Cleveland Browns could have drafted Travis Hunter at number two and still drafted Shador later, that'd have been a storyline like no other. And I think Travis Hunter and Shador being at Cleveland together, they would have did exactly what Clayton Clark did for the WBA. Tickets sales are going crazy. You know what I mean? And so honestly, you can't justify why he slid so far. Just not a football reason, right? I mean, the only thing I can take from it is that you don't like a confident black man. I mean, because you saw the same thing with LeVar and his kids.
Yep.
They say he was a bad father. Why was he a bad father? Because he was confident that his kids was good. All the thing that man said, okay, he did say he could beat Michael Jordan. We going LeVar was going. He was being wild for those takes, but all he did was say, "Hey, I think my sons are the best players." And as a father, that's what you're supposed to say. LeBron James said the same thing about Bronny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Shador ain't no Bronny.
No. No.
Shador is
No.
a number. He was the number two pick. Well, not number two pick, number two quarterback, I should say.
Right.
Okay, so then you talk about Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward was a better quarterback. I'm a little biased because I was a Miami fan, but if you look at the intangibles, you look at the way he's poised and everything else, his total game, I think Cam Ward was the number one quarterback. Jackson Dart, I'm willing to listen to an argument. I still would take Shador there. But Tyler, Jalen Milrow, Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan was the one for me.
You
I ain't gonna hold you. Dylan was the one.
And even when the Browns passed on him and all those rounds, the Saints. You know why you drive? You know
Right.
why you draft Tyler? Tyler show how you say his name. That's the quarterback you draft if you want to draft Arch Manning in the first number one pick next year.
Right.
That's what you do by drafting Tyler. Because you're telling me Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr is what you're going into next season with, and I just don't. You can't say it wasn't collusion. And I don't like the Kaepernick comparison. You know,
It's a horrible one.
it's a horrible take, right? Because from a business standpoint, if I'm looking at it from an old white man who's a billionaire, okay, clearly this black man taking knee and going against the grain and all this good stuff that can be bad for business if I bet on my team. It's not what Shedeur did. The closest thing we have to that is when Lamar Jackson said, "Hey, I want a new contract," and all the owners, all the team said, "We're not going to give him a contract." The
Simultaneously.
Bro, the Atlanta Falcons came out and said, "We're not giving him a contract." This when Desmond Ritter was still on the roster. So
Yes.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And
So
so, go ahead, bro.
yeah, just I think the Giants moment was the one that we'll all remember because, as you said, the Giants trade back in, and I was live here on stream, and it was like, oh shit, are the Giants going to do the unthinkable? Are they going to draft a black quarterback, something that
Mm,
they've never done in the
mm,
100-plus-year history of existing?
right.
And to see that name of Jackson Dart pull up, and to know that the son again, the GM's son again, gave us the T already by putting up
Already.
the Jackson Dart highlights on his IG the night before. The fact that like there's a lot of sons in these NFL front offices doing some nasty work,
Bro,
and
it's disgusting.
Joe Sheen's son is out here predicting picks, giving us the T. And now we got another son of another NFL head coach or assistant head coach
Mm.
out here big wild and pranking Shedeur. But Alicia, walk me through how you took all this Shedeur stuff of second best QB in this class to now being the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth QB off the board.
I think it's just wild because like leading up to it, everybody's been saying like top five. You know, my man Mel. I just
He
want
rode
he a
he
real
was
one.
ride
Look,
or die.
he invited to my
Look,
cookout.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
invited to my cookout.
Strawberry cookout status.
Come on.
my man said this has never happened to me ever before. Like, and it's ultimate collusion because you can't give me like you said stuff. You can't give me a reason football wise as to why he went it so far down. Like going into the whole confidence, and you talking about like Dion. You can even look at tennis, and you can even think about like Serena's daddy, Serena and Venus' dad,
Richard Williams,
Richard.
yep.
Like the famous interview of this girl's confident.
Hmm.
Like, why are you trying to break her confidence?
Hmm.
I think if I'm gonna have a QB as a Steelers fan
Black and yellow.
who needs a QB, I want my QB to be confident. I want you being here questioning yourself, questioning your capability. Like, I don't want that. So I just feel like the narrative of trying to make it seem like okay, bad interviews, he too flashy. I don't want to deal with Dion. Like this is ultimate collusion of trying to break down this man's character. Go ahead, sir.
Imagine how insecure you got to be as a coach to say, "I don't want to deal with Dion." You know, you think, but if you don't play his son, that
Fair.
the fans gonna say, "Give us Dion." You think you actually gonna lose your job for that because the fans may say, "Give us Dion," bro? Like I can imagine, Kellen Moore in the war room with the Saints on the clock, and them saying, if I don't play Shador, they could Dion be coming for my job. You think that was what's going on, bro? Like, be for real. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. And then I hate the comparison people saying, "Oh, he's flashy, he's this, he's that." Man, he flashed his watch. What are we talking about? All he said was, "If you don't want to win, don't draft me." I mean,
Right.
excuse me, have y'all not met Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield,
Yeah,
Baker,
who's
come
coked up.
on.
I mean,
Archie Manning?
but let's really talk about some of these QBs in the past, right? So we had Tim Tebow, who could not really throw the ball, who was basically a running back playing quarterback,
Well,
right?
say tight end.
And all of a sudden now he's considered to be a QB, and Skip Bayless was riding for him all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Johnny Manziel, who was an admitted cokehead, and was taking coke in college, and teams knew about it,
Know
didn't
about it.
stop anybody from drafting him. He didn't slide down no draft boards. He didn't have to wait no 2 3 days to get picked up. And let's go ahead and go all the way with it, right? So while I feel it's, I don't think it's collusion per se, but what
Right.
I will say is this: Prime was trying to put his son in the best position possible by telling him, yo, you're going to be a top five pick, talking it into existence, telling
Mhm.
him you're going to have a first round grade. So don't worry about any of this draft stuff. You're going in the first round. Now, I don't know where Prime was getting his info from, but I think at some point a shift changed. I think at one point in time, Shedeur did have a first round grade across the board, hard
For
stop.
sure.
There were too many people that were saying he's going to be a top whatever QB in this draft for him not to think I have a first round grade. So yeah, I'm out. I don't need to go that hard in these workouts because I've already secured a first round grade.
Right.
Something happened at that combine. Now, I've done some digging,
Oh,
and
so what
some
you
of
got?
the stuff that I have unearthed might not have looked the best for Shedeur. Now,
Okay.
take this as it comes, right? Consider the source. Allegedly, Shedeur was in a lot of meetings and basically pushing back against a lot of the coaches in these formal interviews. The same interviews that they said did some of the worst interviews I've seen in my life, all that type of shit. The anonymous scout that came out and said that stuff
Right.
on more than one occasion. So that means on more than one team had
Mhm.
this type of run-in with Shedeur where he basically was, if not tanking the interview,
Mhm.
showed he didn't really give a fuck about the interview. Now,
Okay.
if you have a first round grade and you go into the combine and basically tank the interviews, and then you get word, hey yo, that shit didn't go the way you thought it was gonna go. Like they didn't like that bravado. They didn't like the fact that you were pushing back.
Mhm.
Don't you now gotta spin the block and do some damage control? Because it seems like that was what was necessary to get back that status that he had. It seemed like he tanked the interviews or had some contentious interviews, and that made a lot of teams think differently about what to do with him in the first round.
Right. So I also had a source who reached out to some people and said, yeah, he didn't interview well, and and I'm quoting here. This is what the message said. He's a cocky Negro. That is what the message
Same.
said about him, like
Mm-hmm.
verbatim. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, he needs to act professional, and I like, what does that mean to you? Does that mean appeasing white people? Because if that's professionalism to you, okay, we need to address what this definition of professionalism is. I think because he didn't come in looking for a handout. How when T Higgins got drafted, they blasted the thing. Hey, his mom was on drugs, and
Right.
he's very thankful for this
Trauma
opportunity.
porn.
And all this, he don't need that.
Right.
His
Yeah.
father is one of the most famous athletes to ever live. So you didn't
Right.
think he was going to instill at least that level of confidence in him? He don't have to go in there and ask y'all for your money. Or now I get being humble to a certain degree, and we saw that humbleness throughout this whole draft process for him. We saw that. You know what I'm saying? He was, I'm still thankful. Thank God for this opportunity. It shouldn't have happened, but head still head high. All that good stuff. So this whole take of him not being humble, I don't know where that came from. Now, is he confident in himself? Yes. But you have to attack this stereotype when they try to portray confidence as arrogance, right? Because what if Arch Manning did the exact same thing? What would they say? Oh, that's what we want in our quarterback. I don't understand it.
I think there's a line between confidence and cocky or arrogant.
For sure.
And I think he can toe that line sometimes. And I think that's where it could rub people wrong. But I do agree in the sense of like, you're gonna come in confident. You can't, because of the lifestyle that he grew up with, his daddy, like he's not gonna be your stereotypical draftee of coming from the slums or from the hood and anything like that. He's not gonna come from that. So, like you said, whatever you offering me money wise or whatever that may be, it don't mean nothing to him. Like, dude just wants to play the game. So at the end of the day, I think it's just a thing of being humble, portraying yourself well, but knowing who you are and standing on that too.
I tell you this much: if Dak Prescott in an interview and said that today, That's my quarterback. I'm tired of this whole, we hope we can do the right thing. The team is on our back. Nah, man,
Right.
pull your pants up a little bit. Mm.
I hear all of that, right? And I do think there's no humbleness beyond Deion Sanders' son. There's absolutely none. And also, just a simple fact that you're an athlete's son. Like, you're a child of an athlete. You grew up with affluence. You've been in the best schools. You've been in the best programs. Like, there is no humbleness out of any Sanders kid or any Manning or any whoever you want to talk about. Going down, Andrew Luck was a son of a former athlete. Like, all these athletes who are part of that lineage of having a father or whoever that's a professional athlete, they come with a certain standard off rip. So there's a certain level of credence and pride and lineage that's already that the precedence in the name. I think the thing with Shedeur is they had the one thing that they can nitpick him about. All it takes is one thing sometimes. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be this way, but when someone's looking to say something bad about you, if you give them that one thing, that's going to be the thing for all eternity. And the one thing with Shedeur is, well, does he have the arm for the NFL? Can he hit the deep ball on a consistent basis? This, that, and the third. They said he had an average arm. Hella accurate, decent with mobility, certainly not as athletic as his father, but athletic enough in today's NFL. But the arm strength. That's why, to me, I thought the Saints should have done it because he'll be in a dome. We protect that arm like they did Drew Brees, who didn't have the strongest of arms, especially
Right.
after his shoulder surgery. So I thought the Saints would have been a nice pick for him to go in there and just be in a protected dome for at least half of his games and then be able to throw short, intermediate, and the occasional deep ball. But was the one thing that they legitimately had as a knock on Shedeur, if you thought he didn't interview well, he's
Right.
a D-bag, he's an a-hole, he's way too cocky, if that's the attitude the NFL front offices, is that enough to justify going from potentially the second best in your class, second pick overall, third pick overall, ninth overall, 21st overall, to now being 144th overall?
Right. So if everything about his slide was football related, I would have understood it. Because I've heard two things about him, right? It's the mobility and the arm strength. Okay. We both, we can see that if you put him and Cam Ward on the field and say race, they ain't winning no foot races against nobody.
Right.
They're about the same level of athleticism, if you ask me. And I've watched the tape, right? So Cam Ward has escapability, and so does Shedeur. So that whole, he doesn't have mobility, let's kill that now. I can go to 10 throws that he's made in college about his arm strength, scrambling to the left, throwing it into the end zone. So the arm strength is enough arm strength to play in the league. And he can level out his throws. He can hit the intermediate route. He can heat the deep ball, and he can shoot the route. So I'm not really understanding that knock. If you're saying, hey, his arm strength, there's been plenty of QBs who didn't necessarily have the arm strength. Bo Nix, he didn't have the strongest arm. But look what he was able to do in Denver, of all places.
Right.
So, again, if it was a football issue, we could have talked about it. But even still, I think his arm is better than Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
I think his arm is better than Jackson Dart. Now, is Jackson Dart more athletic? Yes, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But those should have justified him going to 144 if we're talking about just football issues.
Agreed, and I think unfortunately there's always more to it, right? So
Of course.
the Browns are in a state of flux. They have Nasty Man. He's out for the foreseeable future. May not ever play another down in the league.
Shouldn't.
They had to bring back Joe Flacco. They still have Kenny Pickett. Now they're bringing in 2 additional QBs. So clearly this franchise is in poverty. This is an impoverished franchise right now.
Dysfunction.
So let's talk about that right quick. Kenny Pickett. Why did he leave Pittsburgh? He said he didn't want to compete with Russ.
Right.
You go to Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
You go to Cleveland. With Nasty Man, Joe Flacco, and now Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur. I know he pissed.
Gotta be.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Furious.
if
Absolutely furious.
I will say the Browns finally pulling the trigger on Shedeur though was good for business because I had homeboys saying, "Hey, I'm going to a preseason game," and that's what I meant. You remember that Caitlin Carter effect?
Facts. I mean, his
Oh,
jersey's gonna go platinum in the streets.
I did say that, but I don't know if I can watch doo doo brown and orange.
I
Maybe,
can't
I
do
mean,
it.
maybe the Colorado jersey.
Can't do
Maybe the
it.
there's
Colorado
some
jersey.
J's that kind of
You can get
look
some
like
weeks. You get
ones.
some weeks in there somewhere. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
I know some FUBUs that go crazy with that
Oh,
jersey.
super
You got
crazy.
you gotta go white. You gotta go to white jersey.
The white is clean though.
Throw the forces on. You call it. You know
You
that's
good.
that might be
You
what I
good.
do. That might be what
Yeah.
I do. But he's gonna have a big impact on that franchise, even if he doesn't play right away.
My
And
man is having an impact right now. Dude's post is literally pinned on the NFL,
Yeah.
their account on IG, Twitter, not just Cleveland, but all over. Dude is making an impact right now. Like, the Delta just dropped a whole ad for my boy.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
waiting for him to get drafted. Like, it doesn't have to be when the season starts. It's happening now. My man got the locker room already on lock. You see, like, players over here quoting him, tweeting him.
Denzel Ward
Where,
touchdown.
what?
Yep.
They don't know who
nah,
Dylan is. Who that?
bruh. Now
Who
you
that?
know,
Dylan's still waiting on a tweet. Dylan ain't
man.
get a text. He ain't get a tweet. He ain't get not a damn thing.
You know this remind me of like with Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. You remember the longest yard where Michael Irvin and them walked through the door,
Mm-hmm.
and Brucey was like, "No, I'll never get to play." That's how I feel like they acted when he
Yeah.
got drafted. That's how they acted. It's crazy. But yeah, like Shedeur, I mean, he's polarizing. As soon as he got
Super
drafted,
polarizing.
NFL said with him and Travis on from CU to CU on Sunday, y'all had this in the can since Friday, huh? Y'all was waiting for this one.
Right.
Ain't no late round pick got this much hype or this much coverage since when Michael Sam's got drafted by the Cowboys, man. We know what he got the coverage for the wrong reasons.
We know what that
They
was.
were trying to push an agenda. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that should, I mean, he there now. He gonna get his chance. I hope they give him a fair chance and they don't try to sabotage the kid. I didn't think he would have to go to the UFL or Canada to be able to show that he can play football. But I hope he literally does get a legit chance. He's able to show what he can do.
So I wanted to pull this clip up. Let me see if I can get it right here. Let me get the screen going because there was some content that was released in regards to some of the negatives about Shedeur. So I'm gonna play this clip and let's see if we can react a little bit because now that all the dust has settled, people are still trying to figure out, and we're still trying to figure out why the hell did that man slip to the 144th pick. So now here's some of the tea that's now being unearthed now that everything is said and done.
Mike, it was not a shock within the NFL and team buildings when Shedeur Sanders did not go in the first round. I would fairly tell you it is a surprise that he is still on the board at the start of day 3. Philosophically, some teams feel like if you are drafting at the quarterback position specifically, if you think you've got a starter, you take him in round 1. If you're drafting somebody to be your backup, you don't want to do that until day 3. I spoke last night with one general manager who is considering taking Shedeur Sanders today. He pointed back all the way to March 2024 and something that Shedeur's father, Deion Sanders, said on a podcast talking about both Shedeur and Travis Hunter, saying that if they are drafted by a team that they don't want to go to, he's going to step in and pull an Eli, meaning force those players to not actually go to that team and try to get them traded. Throughout the pre-draft process, Shedeur Sanders very much proceeded as if he was dictating to clubs where he was going to go rather than how the draft works, which is the other way around. And there were a bunch of opportunities missed at the various checkpoints through that pre-draft process. Go all the way back to All-Star season.
All right, so I'll stop it there. So now, again, they're commenting on a pod from over a year ago where Prime says something. Prime was being Prime in his bag, hyping his boys up. And now they're going to leverage a take from a pod as a reason, as rationale to stop Shedeur from getting his rightful moment in the first round. Like, I'll start with Alicia. Alicia, what is your thoughts after hearing that of, well, Prime was on the pod wilding, so we're going to hold that against not just him, but Shedeur.
I think it's just wild. Like you said, that's just Prime being Prime. That's your dad. I expect my dad, my parent, to hype me up and say that. Like, and I'm just saying, if you've seen it be done with Archie and Eli, like, I feel like it wasn't I'm really gonna do this, but I'm gonna throw it out there.
But I
Maybe,
might.
maybe. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
Not me, but like, hype up your son. If anybody's gonna have faith in you, it's gonna be your parent, especially a parent who's been in the league and done this. Like, he knows how this whole field, this whole thing works. So why not, as much as you can, put that out there? But like you said, that was how long ago? Like, we really we digging right now. Like,
Big facts. Yeah.
you stretching. Come on.
Nasty. Steph.
So the word collusion, we threw that around a couple times. I won't say collusion like it was. Well, Lamar was a collusion. We can call that what it is.
Hard stop.
But it was a collusion. But with this, I would say I think general managers or owners got together and said, let's send a message. No one is bigger than the program. No one.
Right.
And I think that's all it was. Like, hard stop. No one's bigger than the program. No, your dad may be the greatest at his position. He may be a top 5 player all time, but even his kid is not bigger than the program. And that's what I believe that's what it was. So
And to me, to make it like a full circle thing, it's like we're supposed to be celebrating whenever a player of Dion's caliber is able to do all the things that he's accomplished. The fact that he's able to, that he basically made his son into, and son in terms of Shedeur. Shedeur, if he didn't have Dion in his, if he wasn't Deion Sanders' son, probably would have just been a cornerback or receiver or whatever. No, but Dion from day one said, you are going to be a quarterback, and I'm going to make sure and protect you and guide you every step of the way to ensure that you don't get taken like many other black kids or black boys in this case that are told, yeah, you can quarterback, but you'll be so much better as a running back, as a receiver, as a corner,
right.
as a whatever. And then the whole trajectory is shifted. Dion made sure to protect his son and ensure that his legacy is going to be, for better or for worse, as a quarterback. This is something that normally, like we've been talking about with the Mannings or even Andrew Luck, like there's lineage that is passed down that gets celebrated, but for whatever reason, because he wears a legendary chain and he talks his shit and he is prime son and the apple did not fall that far from that tree, it's a problem. And this league, this shield, this NFL, they do not like extravagance. They do not like cockiness at the quarterback position, even though they sneakily like it when it's Baker Mayfield.
And Joe Burrow.
They liked it a little bit when it was Johnny Manziel. But for the most part, and we've seen it a little bit with Lamar, we definitely have seen it with others in the past, Mike Vick. If there's a little bit too much cockiness, they don't like that at that position. That's supposed to be the humble guy, the leader, face of the franchise, that type of deal. Let's see if we can focus on Shedeur in Cleveland now, as the dumpster fire that is the Cleveland Browns. Can Shedeur actually start a game this year? With the way this is breaking up with that trash-ass QB room, if Nasty Man, we know Nasty Man ain't going to be there.
He's not going to be
Kenny
there.
Pickett ain't shit will worth a damn. They didn't even pick up the option on his contract, so this is essentially his last year in Cleveland already. So
Right.
this will be a one and done. I think this is going to be Shedeur. If he doesn't start 3 or 4 games this year, I think he walks into camp in 2026 as QB1, which is wild when you're looking at the fact that he could have been second overall to 144th, but yet and still he could still walk into Cleveland and be QB1 in 2026.
I mean, if it works out that way, if you're Cleveland, you don't look smart in this situation, but you look smart, right? Because you got your starter for the future at 144, right? Imagine all the money you just saved on that move alone. I do believe tons of money. I do believe he's a lot better than Dylan Gabriel. Honestly, I forgot Dylan Gabriel was even, like they said, Dylan who?
He's just there.
He's just an innocent bystander.
Squad.
He's a stallion.
Yeah.
So it's Dylan Gabriel. I mean, the only person he's really, I think, competing with for the starting job is Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco has showed us that he can withstand, the hands of time, because I don't know how he's still doing it. It seems like he's playing better ball now than when he was in his prime. It's just slow motion with him. So I do believe if Shedeur doesn't start this year, next year he definitely is QB1.
Amazing. And to put a bow on the sense of it, it's just like the Browns obviously could have took him at 2. They traded back, got the 5, where they could have took him again. but they didn't. And the fact that their starting quarterback in 2026, they could have had him at 2, they could have had him at 5, they could have had him in the second, third, fourth, take him in the 5th round. The amount of savings they're going to get if he's just good, he doesn't have to be nice, just if he's a high level NFL starter.
Brock Purdy.
And then that's for 4 years. You got him for the low for 4 of them joints. Now you can build around the team and go overspend for a receiver, overspend for more defensive talent or offensive line help or another running back, depending on what happens with Chubb. Like, there's so many things that a lot of people are trying to push the narrative of, well, this could be a good thing for Shedeur. It's not a good thing for his pockets, but it could be a good thing long term in terms of now the Browns have no choice but to surround him with tons of help, because you're going to have all the cap flexibility in the world, especially once they get Nasty Man's contract off of the books.
And that's the thing. I didn't even think about that, because with that contract on the books, you don't have the luxury of drafting your starting quarterback or your QB1 at number 2.
You be in cap hell.
You don't have that, that flexibility. So again, if it pans out that way, they're gonna look smart on the back end. But I still got to give you some heat for that trade you made. I can't let that slide, because if I'm Myles Garrett,
go ahead.
I imagine y'all told him, "Hey, we're gonna get you an elite pass rusher. If you come back." Of course, the money helped. The money helped a lot. But we're gonna get you a elite pass rusher, and for you to trade out of that pick, when you could have had Abdul Carter, you foot injury aside, unless that's like an ongoing injury that's gonna plague him throughout his career, which we really can't see. I don't get why you made that trade. Because I think Abdul Carter can be a generational pass rusher, and you're pretty much telling me, okay. Even, like you said earlier, with Travis, even with that pick for the Jags, you're thinking that they're going to be a dumpster fire next year, and that pick they have is going to be top 5.
It's the only way you justify that deal.
And then you're banking on next year's draft producing some good talent for you,
right.
And the guy you could have on right now could go back to college for NIL. You never know. Right. So why chance it? And then you get stuck with Mason Graham. And to say you get stuck with Mason Graham, make it seem like Mason Graham is a slouch. He's a bad player. Mason Graham is a damn good player.
Yeah.
But
maybe Aaron Donald, allegedly.
But Myles Garrett needs a partner who can rush the passer. Mason Graham ain't that. Now, he got some quick steps. He got good hands. He's short. He can't collapse the pocket, for double teams on guards or whatever. But, you should have got Abdul Carter. So you better hope Mason Graham pans out.
So to kind of bring some levity to this, I mentioned this to Steph in pre-prod, but I want to make sure Alicia gets to see this. Are we aware that
this guy, I'm sorry,
RG3 is doing content with his snow bunny laid up in the background eating popcorn?
Hey, yo.
I was today years old when I realized, now I'm not going to play the sound because I ain't taking no copyright, but Mans is really out here with his queen just eating popcorn while he's giving takes. I don't know nothing more about Cornball Brother. Shout out to Rob Parker.
Rob Parker.
Who had it before all of us. He peeped game that he would be the type that does a hot take with a snow bunny eating popcorn on a couch, on a Shea Lounge right behind him.
That's crazy.
I have never in my life seen nothing like this.
She said, I'm a supportive queen.
Yeah. He's got the Funko Pops in the background. Like, this is quite the setup for your man's Cornball Brother RG3.
Big cornball.
This lost.
Full of corner can right there. That's wild. No, that's really wild.
I will say this. I am surprised she has lotion on the legs. She has lotion on the legs, so I'll give her a little bit of credit for that. I don't know if that's his influence or not, but Cornball Brother RG3, just to break up the hardcoreness of collusion talk and all this. So I saw that and I was like, wait, I gotta find a way to get this into the stream somehow, some way. This man's giving takes with his snow bunny. Umar, do your best work. If you could convert this brother and bring him back home, Umar, I don't think it's
gonna happen.
The scam of that school in Delaware.
It's not gonna happen.
Man's just lost.
Lost cause? He's a lost cause. All right.
For sure.
All right.
Can I just shout out Shiloh real quick? Like,
he won the weekend. Go.
Big Brother Award. You feel me? He was supportive, brought the laughs. Like that's full example
No doubt,
of what you need in a big brother.
for sure. He killed it. He killed it. And even the fact that now he's in the league, somebody that I was not expecting that man to make it into the league. But hey, look, I mean, Tampa Bay undrafted free agent. Why not?
Hey, I
Why
thought he
not?
was gonna be next to DJ with the camera.
Yeah, yeah. That's what he dead ass
Hey,
really need to be.
hey, I thought he was gonna be there, and then
I,
he
I think I think he'll be there soon enough. I
Oh,
don't
for
think
bro,
it's gonna,
sure.
I don't think he's
even
making that final that 53. I don't think
bro,
he's making that.
even after like he got signed, he still kept the laughs going. Like, yeah, I fired my dad. That's my agent. Like, bro, you might have a business somewhere else. You
He needs to have that mic. Like again,
yeah,
I've
you need
also
to go
said this
find
before about a
Drewski.
network.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
streaming company needs to go ahead and throw him a bag
Get him with
and let
Mason
him get his
Killer.
takes off.
Get him with Mason Killer.
Oh no, that right there would be gold content.
We need
I'm
it.
here for that. Do we want to hear the Browns try to rationalize their drafting of Shedeur Sanders after taking Dylan Gabriel in the third round?
Let's go for it.
live by our board. We felt like he was a good, solid prospect at the most important position. We felt like it got to a point where he was probably mispriced, relative to the draft.
Okay, so they're already talking about the price. He is mispriced. So they know, hey, bro, this is like getting something for the lowest of lows. It's like getting something, you go to Burlington Coat Factory and you see some Concords out there on the shelf. You got to pick them up, even though you might
Hey, look,
not.
it's on sale plus an extra
Yeah,
discount. I
I gotta
mean,
do it. I wasn't even looking for no Concords, but they,
hey, but it's right there. So
$49.99. They my size. I gotta scoop them. Even if I don't need them, I'm taking them.
I want to point out. Did you see his face when they drafted Shedeur? That
yes.
man,
I
he was
have
just,
that. Hang
he
on.
was
I
just
have
like,
it here somewhere. I have it in a tweet. I had the
I,
video.
I,
Yep. Here
yeah.
you go.
He
I mean,
damn,
this
we
man
got too
looked
many
mad as
quarterbacks.
hell. He looked mad as hell that he had to draft him.
Damn, we got five. You know
Mad
the owner
as
stepped
hell.
in. The owner stepped in. Somebody had to step in. Look how pissed
Hand
he is.
claps.
Damn. And then you heard like even pick after him. He told Shedeur, he was like, "You gotta come in and earn your keys." That man was excited hell. Talk to the next pick after him. He ain't say nothing about earning your key.
And even Dylan Gabriel, he was excited as hell talking to Dylan Gabriel. I was like, bro, you know you're talking to Dylan Gabriel, right?
Right.
Like, you know who you just drafted.
Dylan Gabriel, stop it.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Well, I'll cede the floor to y'all. Do y'all have any more Shedeur points you want to get off? I know that the Shedeur thing is a very polarizing topic. Everyone's got their conspiracy theories. The league had it out for Dion, so they're going to hurt Dion through his son, et cetera, et cetera. Mind
Right.
you, this man was almost the Cowboys coach this past offseason, but for some reason, the whole league has it out for Prime. Any closing thoughts in regards to the Shedeur Sanders thing?
All I'm gonna say is the Shedeur news swept the Browns draft story this season, but on top of that, they didn't have a bad draft, honestly. Aside from that trading that pick and not getting Abdul Carter, because the picks they made after that was pretty damn good.
I agree. I mean, I think there's if you look past the trade, and I think with that trade, like we talked about, they have to assume the Jags are going to be trashed, even with Travis Hunter, to justify moving down to 5 and giving up the chance to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. So they're banking on the fact that they're going to have potentially, because we know the Browns are going to suck this year, regardless,
Yeah.
right? So they're going to be in the top 10 again next year. So they're also banking on the Jags being just as bad, if not worse. So now they get to walk into next year and have 2 top 10 first-round picks potentially. Now,
Right.
I'll throw this out there at y'all. What do they do? Let's say Shedeur plays and he's okay, but he's not killing shit, but he's okay. Flacco does his job. He takes it for the first 8-10 games, and he hands the keys to Shedeur or Dylan, most likely Shedeur. And let's say Shedeur is mid. Now you got 2 top 10 picks next year. You gonna go get Arch? Can you imagine a QB room now in 2026? A QB battle, QB1 battle of Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel, and Arch Manning? Ain't no way Cooper letting that happen, right?
No, that's
Ain't no way
not.
Cooper letting
That's
that happen.
not. I don't see the Saints being worth a damn. I think the Saints gonna do everything they can. Cause you gotta think about the first quarterback in Saints official Saints history was who? Archie.
Arch.
The story too good. Story too good.
But if you're Cooper, do you want, like, again, like, because even Archie didn't like the fact that he had to stay in New Orleans his whole career because there was no free agency then, and that led to the whole thing with Eli. Do you think times have changed that much where New Orleans is a cool spot? Because I don't know if people are clamoring outside of the nightlife. I don't know if people are clamoring to be out there and be in the same, bro.
I'll get to you like this. One good quarterback can change all that because I don't think nobody was itching to get to Washington either. Not everybody want to play there.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you must have that type of gusto for that quarterback. Now, if they draft Archie, he goes. Yeah, I mean, they could change the program. Like I said, the only history we have of that as a recent history is Jay Daniels. Nobody wanted to go to Washington. Nobody.
Right.
But now everybody seems to want to go play there.
It just takes one person, like you said. And it doesn't matter the sport. I mean, Caitlin Clark takes one person. So
now people want to go to Indiana.
Terrible.
Crazy.
Terrible.
Naptown.
Come on. I still ain't going.
Passing through. It is a pass-through city.
As someone who was there a couple weeks ago, it ain't.
You can confirm it is still Naptown. It is still a pass-through city.
For sure.
The only person happy to be there is Halliburton because it's always snowing.
Always snowing. Him and RG3. Now that's the pod. RG3 on with his snow bunny on the couch, and then your man's Halliburton pulls up with his 3-pack of mid.
Man, and threes on and off the court. Nasty.
Well, Alicia, I know you don't want to be here for the hardcore football talk, so I'll if you want to bow out now, I'll give you that grace. But if you want to get some more takes off, you want to shout out your content that's coming soon. Yes, I'm putting you on the spot and promoting that.
That's crazy.
Whatever you want to do here, as you made your maiden voyage here on the DCMD podcast, go ahead and tap in and promote whatever you want to promote.
I'm not gonna promote anything because I don't have the podcast yet. We figuring things out in due time. But I'll come back when you want to talk WNBA. You feel me? Okay. Season starting soon, real soon. Lot of movement during the off season.
A lot of big trades.
Okay, a lot of draft picks. So
let's get it. Okay.
If you want to talk W, I'll definitely gladly come back.
I like it.
We will hold her to that. So now we all have it here on this stream is being recorded. We have her on the record saying she will pull back up. So we will hold her to that. Alicia, thank you for pulling up. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, player.
Bye.
All right, Steph. So we can go a lot of ways with this.
Of course.
Shout out to everybody in the chat tapping in. I know Script Zero's been tapping in. Who else we got here? Andrea's tapping in. Appreciate all y'all for being able to tap in. So now we're going to get into trying to navigate just what the hell happened at the top of this draft. So we know we had the normal thing of, all right, the Titans did what they were supposed to do. I still have my reservations about it, but it is what it is. It happened, right?
Right.
The Jags trade, we've talked about it a little bit, but in regards to what Travis Hunter can bring to the Jaguars, talk about how quickly he can impact. Pairing him with Brian Thomas, who me and you loved last year coming into this draft, coming to last year's draft, having that as potentially your 1-2 with Trevor Lawrence, and then you still got Travis Hunter on the back end on that defense, which was piss poor, one of the worst in a lot of the advanced metrics in terms of pass defense. What's the impact of Travis Hunter to the Jags with that number 2 spot?
I don't want to over-exaggerate his impact early, but I'm going to. I think you got the face of your franchise. And I get it's usually a quarterback, but Sunshine has had his time.
Yeah.
He's had it. Travis Hunter may be the face of this franchise for years to come. He's just that type of player. Like you said, pairing him as a second receiver to Brian Thomas are one thing. Then you can have not a safety, but a cornerback who was the last time you drafted one that high was who? Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
So imagine he comes in and impact that defense the way Jalen Ramsey did. On top of being at worst the second best receiver on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already personable.
Right.
He's Dion's, other son and just everything about him. You got the face of your franchise in that kid.
Box
And I love it.
office.
I love it.
Yeah.
Even the way he walked onto the stage, the showmanship, the excitement, everything, and him standing 10 toes down on, if I'm not playing both sides of the field, I don't want to play. And
Love
we
that.
all had our reservations about it, but I love it. I've been doing it for XYZ. And people say, well, Champ Bailey tried it, Charles Wilson tried it, even your coach Dion. I ain't them.
They ain't me.
They ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Bro,
Different.
I love it. I love it. So not even on the football aspect of what I think he can do. I think he can lock down one side of the field by himself.
Okay.
Because you've never. Let's bring it back a few weeks. We heard Dion and Asante Samuel get into the arguments about the T-step and running out of routes and breaking about.
Yep.
Dion coached him and bragged about this kid religiously as a cornerback. So to say he can lock down one side of the field, yes, he may have some trouble with bigger receivers, the DK Metcalfs of the world, the AJ Browns of the world, those bigger guys.
Mm-hmm.
But hell, he going against Brian Thomas Jr. every day. So he ain't got no choice but to get better and get used to that.
Iron
So I think
iron.
Exactly. I think on the back end, that's going to help him out a lot. Of course, they can still body him. I mean, you see, even in the Panthers, they got T-Mac, Mike Evans of the world. It's some big guys in the league.
Right.
But his ball hawking skills, his speed, the way he can he sees the ball in nobody. I think he'll be fine.
I love this move. I love this move for both teams. To be quite honest, and I know it's a bigger risk for the Browns because
For sure,
they're giving up Travis Hunter, they're giving up Abdul Carter. But I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid of you're banking on the Jags to suck, so you're gonna have 2 top 10 picks. I'm gonna believe that that's the move next year.
Mm-hmm.
However, for the Jags, and like you said, sunshine ain't it.
No.
He's good. He's not the savior. Like teams were openly tanking for Trevor Lawrence, and he's been good at times. He's been bad at times. So that means you're mid. So
Right.
if that's who you got, and you've already given him the bag, so you're locked in. You need to now surround that man with as many weapons as possible. And while you could have tried to do it at 5 and maybe take a running back, there was talk that they might go Genty or whatever the case may be, however, if you want to believe that, smoke or not. But the fact of the matter is the ultimate weapon in this draft is Travis Hunter. You're getting 2 players for the price of 1, and this is still the National Football League last time I checked, and they love getting motherfuckers for the low. So to be able to get 2 top-tier players with 1 contract, every team should have been clamoring to get up there to number 2. Every team should have been trying to get to the Browns spot because you're getting 2 players for the price of 1. And I love the fact that the Jags are going to allow him to try. That's, I think, me and you've talked about it ever since this whole Travis Hunter thing has been a thing of just let him try. If he fails, he fails, and then you pick whichever side is the best side. But to just teams that were openly saying, well, we only view him as a DB or we only view him as a receiver, that to me, that's silly.
That's
you weren't
silly.
watching the tape. You weren't watching the boy hoop. You don't know ball. Like you weren't watching because the boy was out here putting up big numbers as a receiver and was a lockdown corner. How can you sit here and just say, well, we view him as this? He's played both sides of the ball for 4 years plus with top-tier success, not varying degrees of success. It's not like, oh, well, he's only a nickel corner at this level and a number 3 receiver. No, he's a number 1 DB and a potential number 2 receiver at this level. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that?
I get to you like this. I think he's a better receiver than Deebo Samuel. And Deebo Samuel was used as a number 1 for years in the 49ers.
Right.
And I've already lamented it. I think he's a type of cornerback like Jalen Ramsey. Now, he's not this big. He's not about to come down and thump like Jalen. But covers-wise,
right.
Come on.
He's up there.
He's up there.
I love it for the fact of you hit on Brian Thomas. You still got Etienne. And you got who's backing up?
You got Tank Bigsby. Shout out to that kid.
You got Etienne. You still have Ingram as a tight end, I believe. Like you got some weapons there.
Right.
Now you're gonna overwhelm Trevor Lawrence. Now if he can't do it, now if he's still a mid pack, then you know, all right, we need to flip this. Because if we can't get it done with all these weapons, then it's you, bruh. It ain't the scheme. It ain't. You can't blame Urban Meyer no more.
Shoot.
You,
I'll tell you the type of relevance I think Travis Hunter has brought the Jaguars. Was anybody talking about the Panthers before Cam Newton got there?
hell no. Box office. He's box
That's all I'm
office.
saying. That's all I'm saying. I think he's going to bring them to relevance because every week you got to talk about it. You got to. Just like I think the Cleveland Browns ticket sales about to go up because, is this the game Shedeur play? Just like with Bron and the Lakers. Is this the game? Is this it?
Right.
Bro, you got the face of your franchise and drafting Travis Hunter.
It's a hell of a move. It's a hell of a move. It's
It
the
is.
right move, and it's the rare time where we see a team give up a lot, and we're not mad because of the player that they moved up to get. Like this isn't, teams moving up like the Bears moved up to go get Mitch Trubisky. Like this is not that. Or you could even, talk about some of the other riskier moves that even happened in this draft, where the Giants moved back into the bottom of the first round to go get Jackson Dart. But
Falcons.
the Falcons moving up to go get Pierce. I mean, there's a lot of reaches in this draft. The team's trading up and moving up to get back in the mix. To
Right.
me, this was the one deal of the first round for sure, where a team moved up, and it was justifiable why they moved up and why they gave up so much.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They have a new GM, right?
New GM, rookie GM, 32 years old.
And so the Texans had a new GM when they made their trade.
Yep.
What they did, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, right?
Yep.
Hey, I like the way it's going.
New blood.
I
New
like
blood.
this.
New way
I
of
like the
thinking.
way the league is trending with these new guys coming in being aggressive early. Because what do? You set the tone, and you don't set the tone like you did if you're Jacksonville by getting literally the face of your franchise.
Right. And to that point, with these younger GMs, they're doing like how we do in video games.
Yeah.
They're playing Madden. They're playing NCAA 25. They're moving and shaking. They're moving these rosters around, position changes. They're doing all of that. So they know, hey, look, I'll give up a first next year. Fuck them picks. It's kind of like the
Right.
Rams a few years ago. Fuck them picks. I'm trying to
Exactly.
get a Super Bowl. I'm trying to get a Lombardi. And then he went out there and got it done. So
Well, they
I'm
ain't
not
got it.
mad at the thought process. I think there should be new blood in this NFL. Shake it up. Fuck them picks. If you really feel that's the guy I want. If you feel Travis Hunter's the one, and we all feel that way,
Yeah.
I would do the
Unicorn.
same thing.
Unicorn.
If I got a mid-pack in Trevor Lawrence and I'm trying to save the cap by surrounding him with as much help as possible to appease the contract I was given before I got here, yeah, I'm going to leverage a pick next year to go get who I think is the best player in the whole damn draft.
And this rate, you're not even sure if your job even safe next year.
Facts.
So who cares if I got that pick?
Facts.
Especially if you're using it the way he just did.
Right.
And you got a Thorpe winner and a Biletnikoff winner. The first ever to
Right.
win both awards.
Right.
The first ever to be announced as a cornerback / wide receiver. Hey.
So I think, Abdul Carter to the Giants, I don't love it because I really want Abdul Carter to shine. I don't know if that's going to happen with the Giants. That front line has a lot of bodies on already. Brian Burns, we know about. Thibodeau, they're extending him to try to see what they can do from him. So they have that D line is not the
Dexter
issue in New
Lawrence.
York. Yeah, the D line wasn't the issue with the Giants, but they still go and enhance the D line with Abdul Carter. So I get it, best player available if you're that type of guy. So I get it, but does that help the Giants enough to thwart all the nonsense that's going to be going on with Malik Neighbors and just a bunch of dudes?
No, it's not. I don't know if you saw the clip with Gruden and Jackson Dart. I've never seen Gruden so disappointed and so dumbfounded. How dumb. He said, let me hear the snap count. Yeah, clap. No, let the snap count. Claps again. No, he said, no shit. You got a dummy?
That's literally it.
You got a dummy snap count? Yeah, we clap twice. That's who you're playing. If you're Brian Daboll, regardless of how you felt about Shedeur in the interviews, whatever, that's what you're laying your hat on.
Right.
So you better hope in a QB room that has Russell Wilson, that has Jameis Winston, that has Tommy DeVito. That's what you're laying your hat on because let's be honest, you don't have many seasons left. This may be your last one. The, so, but back to Abdul Carter. You know how we feel about him because me and you have talked about it. We mentioned it earlier that we think he can be a generational pass rusher.
Yep.
But it's only so many people who can be on the end. It's two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah.
And I think he's his best as in a 6 technique, either over the tight end or you slide him down slightly over the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he's fast enough to beat whoever's on the outside. I think he's handsy enough to be able to work the moves to, mix some bull rush with some spins and some, finesse moves. I think he's good enough to do that. But that's Brian Burns already.
He's already there, and you gave him a bag, and you
gave him a bag.
managed a lot of draft collateral to get
him. Exactly. And then, are you saying you drafted Kayvon Thibodeau so early a couple years ago, and now you're just giving up on him, and you're gonna put Abdul there? Because otherwise, this just doesn't make sense. Now, if you told me, if they would have taken Mason Brown if they wasn't gonna get a quarterback, and say, hey, we want to put a surefire interior lineman next to Dexter Lawrence because we're gonna make sure our defensive line is just that good. It kind of would have made more sense to me because to have one elite end and one that you extended, who you think could live up to his draft stock, it doesn't make sense to go get Abdul, and that's why I don't get drafting the best available versus drafting towards need.
Right. So now I'll make you Joe Sheen.
Okay.
You're not taking Shedeur because he's black, and the Giants don't draft black quarterbacks.
Right.
So if you're not taking Abdul and you're not taking Shedeur, who would you have taken at 3?
Whew. That's. Am I still intending on trading up again the quarterback later in the first round? That'd be my first question.
You're willing to do it. It's not lock and step, but you're willing to do it if the right one's there. But you know that right one's not Shedeur because of who your owners are.
Right.
So a black QB is all off the table. So you're looking at Jack Dart or your man Sklo or Skro, whoever his name is.
Yeah. No.
So you're probably not trading back into the first round because you're not drafting a black quarterback.
The only other pick that would make sense at 3 would be Will Campbell.
That's where I was going.
Because he will be a Pro Bowler. He gonna be in the league about 15 years. I think he was going to be amazing.
Right.
And drafting him, that's pretty much saying it doesn't matter who my quarterback is. He's gonna be protected. His blind side covered. Because this kid here, that you want him to play for your team. And I heard an interview that he did at the start of last year when he was at LSU, right? And the way he spoke about being an offensive line, bro, it touched me. He said, my job is to protect the guy behind me. He said, a defensive end can hit my quarterback one time, and I've done a bad job. You know what I mean? If I keep him off my quarterback the entire game, ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it. But I take pride in that. That's it.
That's real right there. That's real.
I need that type of guy.
Yeah.
And he got the mustache as if he grew up in the country. Boy, that's my only. That's the boomer in me. I think most of the offensive line should look like him, not Tyron Smith. Granted, Tyron Smith's Hall of Fame. That's just my boomer take. But Will Campbell will be a Pro Bowler, bro. Just like Quinn Nelson when he got drafted to the Colts and all them boys.
Right away.
You knew right away.
Yeah.
He will be one of them guys.
Yeah, because I'm really trying to figure out, because I understand taking Abdul Carter because you might feel like you have to, but if you're not taking Campbell, then I would assume it had to be either Membu or Banks, depending on who you're higher on.
Right.
Could you have done? See, you can't take Ted at 3. I'm just trying to think. You
I
can't
don't.
do Genty because you got Tracy.
I don't think Ted.
I mean, I was surprised Ted went 8. I ain't gonna hold you, but then we learned he's been hooping with Bryce Young for weeks. So it's like, okay, so the fix was in with that. So no matter what we think of him, he was going 8.
So the thing is, like, let's talk about T-Mac. Big body.
Yes.
Big catch.
6'5", yeah.
Big catch radius. Got some good speed. He can't create separation. You couldn't create separation in college. and you're going against a lot better talent. And people love to throw out, "Oh, look what he did against Travis Hunter." Okay, let's go back and watch those games.
Watch that tape, please.
Because you showed us six catches. Show us the rest of the game.
Right.
Show us the rest of the game, right?
Right.
So I'm like, is he a big body? Yes. Does he have a huge catch radius? Does he have vice grip hands? Yes. But you're pretty much stepping into the role that Adam Thielen had last year. And Adam Thielen was serviceable last year. He did pretty good for Bryce.
Mhm.
But that's still not helping Bryce out in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Because who was the other guy? It was Xavier Leggett. And athletic and as country as he is, he disappointed them last year.
Nah, he definitely let me down.
Bro, he dropped a lot of balls.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to come in and have a DK type season, like
Yeah.
DK's rookie season. I saw it. Same type of build, not the same speed, not just as fast, but he's slightly slower. But he disappointed me. So you're pretty much replacing Adam Thielen with a younger Adam Thielen, which
Yeah.
is meh.
Yeah.
Now, if you would have got Emeka Iboka from Ohio State, that probably made me feel a little better because that gives you something different in the offense. But like you said, he was going 8. He was going 8, bro.
Yeah, he was going 8, bro. Like to me, to echo your point, you know, I like what Tet brings in terms of his physics.
Yeah.
I just don't see that translating. Like if you can't get separation in college, like Bryce Young is accurate. His deep ball is solid if he has enough time to like load up.
Right.
But I think that's the only real weapon like Tet can do. Like I think T-Mac is going to be your deep threat. He'll be your big body threat in the end zone. But we don't really see fade routes no more. Like the fade route has kind of been eased out. So having someone 6'5", it helps at the high point to high point the rock. But how many times you could just go and throw jump balls like that? You don't see jump balls as much as you did like 10 years ago.
You don't. Think about it. Even when like Julio was ended and near his prime, you wasn't seeing fade route because
He wasn't getting those.
Julio cannot catch a fade route to save his life.
And if Julio not catching them, ain't nobody else catching them because he birthed this shit damn near. Him and Moss birthed the jump ball.
Come on. So like
it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't know where you go. If you're not going O-line, if you were the Giants at 3, you're not going O-line, I don't know what you do. But looking at what the Panthers did with T-Mac at the 8 spot, that to me is a reach. I understand the reach.
Oh, for sure.
I understand the reach, right? Because you saw some glimpses of hope after benching Bryce Young a couple of times. He played really well down the stretch. So you want to go off of that momentum and keep feeding him help and weapons, something the Ravens don't do. But now you have someone at 6'5". I get it. I just don't love it. I don't know if it's actually going to come to fruition.
Right. Next thing I want you to look at, please look at the Bears' entire draft class. Just everybody in the Bears
draft. Stand by. Yep. Go ahead. We can start with Loveland at 10. I mean,
so let me
that
ask
to
you,
me is a reach, but
why not Tyler Warren? Why not Tyler Warren?
I'll say this.
If you're going to go tight end.
If you're going to go tight end, I understand it only from the standpoint of, from the tape that I watched, I saw a lot more wiggle in Loveland than Warren.
So you saw a lot more Brock Bowers opposed to
I saw more
traditional...
dynamic. I saw more yak with Loveland than Warren. Warren to me is like Jason Witten 2.0.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm taking that at 10.
Right.
But if you're telling me I might have a little Trey McBride, I might have a little Laporta in the mix, I'm more willing to accept that at 10 than I got Jason Witten 2.0. I don't need a 9-yard button hook in today's NFL. I don't need it. But if you're telling me we're going to put mans in the seam and he's going to do work, or you can line him up, ISO him, he could beat a safety off the line, okay, I'm listening now.
Do you think Jim Dre, the tight ends coach for the Bears, who played for Harbaugh back in his day?
I mean, for sure. I think between that relationship and obviously Ben Johnson's footprint is all over these first 3 picks of the Bears draft.
Let me say, I love that Luther Burden pick.
I like it as well.
I love that Luther Burden pick. And we talked about him a lot last year, especially in the SEC. His stats are not going to jump off the screen at you just because of the offense he was in. Brady Cook did decently, but he could not get him the ball last year. Year before that, that's the tape you need to watch. I think the kid is dynamic. I think he can stretch the field. I think he can make any catch. And it's similar to like what I said about Keenan Allen, on this about a year ago when we did this. I said he's a difficult catch maker. That's Luther Burden. And we know how Caleb loves to scramble out, try to be Mahomes-esque, and doesn't make the smart throw. When you guys somebody like Luther Burden, who you're assuming Rome is going to ascend into what you think he's going to be, and then you still got DJ on the side. Like, I love that pick.
I have a hot take.
Hit me.
I like this pick better than Rome Odunze's pick last year. I think he's going to be a better fit for Caleb and what Ben Johnson's trying to do in Rome. I was not that impressed. No shade to Rome. I was not that impressed last year. I know the offense was not that great. The system was not that great, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I was not the biggest Rome guy anyway last year.
Okay.
He was clearly the third best receiver. But to me, I like what Luther Burden brings dynamically because I think Rome to me is not necessarily a big body, but more of a possession guy.
Definitely. So let me stop you. I know you're cooking.
Go ahead.
Ben Johnson runs a 12 personnel a lot. He's with the Lions. Who are the two receivers? Because you already said we got Copeland and we got Cole Kmet, obviously.
Yeah. So then you're gonna have to have DJ Moore in that second guy. To me, I'm looking at Luther Burden more than I am Rome because Rome ain't giving you no wiggle. He don't got no wiggle.
So you doing DJ and you doing Luther?
I'd rather do that because I know DJ as a true number one, debatable. I mean,
Debo-ish
by default.
Debo-ish.
Yeah.
I think he gives you a little bit. This is my comparison. Well, this is where I can place him. He's slightly above Debo, but up on the Terry McLaurin. That's why I got him.
I like that. Yeah. So having that, I'm like, okay, Burden brings you that yak. Like to me, I think the Ben Johnson's whole thing is I think he looked at this roster and it's not that difficult. And looked like there's no real playmakers outside of DJ Moore.
Right.
In terms of shaking guys and maybe taking it to the crib. You really don't have anyone who could do that. You don't have anyone in the backfield. I mean, Swift was hit or miss, but you really don't have anybody who's got the wiggle to take it to the crib. Now, in Loveland, in theory, he's someone who can get you some yak. And Burden, we've seen the tape. We know what he could do when he got the ball in his hands. Pause. He can house it at any moment. So, like, to me, I think that, like, the architect of Ben Johnson, his hands are all over this draft board. Up and down. The first three picks, all three of these are all Ben Johnson.
Yep. And then, so even at the Shamar Turner pick.
Talk to me because I caught up on him late, leading into the draft, but I did not have a chance to do a deep dive in terms of tape.
I'm pretty sure that's the guy I sent you, right? I think I told you to look out for him.
He was on the list, yeah.
I'm glad no one reached for him in the first round. Let me say that.
Okay.
Because simply looking like Myles Garrett is not enough. Just like Cole Kmet looks like Rob Gronkowski.
Right.
It's not enough.
Right.
For Shamar Turner's attributes, his size, pause, everything he brings physically, the production didn't match. It didn't match. You got the motor, you got the size and everything else, but your production was lacking. So you can't give me, he looks like Myles Garrett, but he doesn't have even half of Myles Garrett's production. So unless you're telling me you got a dynamite line coach down there who can teach him some hands moves and teach him some finesse, hey, this is your job. Get to the quarterback. Right.
Can he play inside? Because even hearing this blurb, and I've heard this since this pick, they're going to put him next to Grady Jarrett and say, just absorb all of that. Learn all of that. So to me, that means also that y'all think he could play either 3 technique or something. Like, y'all must think some.
I don't think the power is there. I think he's more quick off the end than he is, put him inside. Like I said, his leverage is okay
Okay,
because he's quick off the snap,
got it.
but the hands aren't great. The push isn't great. If you're looking for him to bull rush and to absorb double teams as if Miles Garrett did, I mean, he's going to be a lesser Jadeveon Clowney when he was at the Texans, and we know how undervalued he was there. Like it was
Right.
not good at the Texans. That's basically Shamar in this defense. Well, that's him as a pro. Now, what's the point of having coaches to coach somebody up? So
Right.
there's a lot more there to be desired. He's definitely a raw talent. I mean, his body, like I keep calling him Miles Garrett Jr., but you can only stop when it says that's what he looks like because the production does not match.
Yes, 6'3", 290. That to me screams like Jalen Carter.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It's just
Mm,
because even if you go back and look at the Super Bowl, right, with Jalen Carter, his stats don't scream at you, but those of us who know ball,
the impact.
those of us who know what to look at, that impact was there.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at him to have that type of impact on this defense, he's definitely going to have to make himself a bigger threat. Do I think he can do it? That's to be determined.
Right.
But the comeback, he impressed everybody, and that's why his name shot up the boards the way it did.
Yeah, because even here, and to your point, change of direction is a plus to his profile. Not a power player who plays with quality leverage, more of a finesse type who wins with first step quicks and stellar hard work.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's like, all right, that sounds like a project to me. Or you're
Yeah.
only putting him on passing downs and let him just go off the edge
Right.
and let's see if he can get home.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm.
It's,
You're taking
Well,
that in the second round?
exactly. And so now that fourth round pick, if they would have taken him in the second round, I wouldn't have been mad at it.
It would have made more sense.
It would have made more sense. But overall, the Bears didn't have
fills a need. That feels more of an immediate need
definitely.
than Turner
Definitely.
on that line. The
And
line
that's-
is actually, for the first time in about almost a decade, D line is not necessarily a problem for the Chicago Bears.
Exactly. And that's why I felt like that pick and the pick for the Falcons for Pierce slight reaches in my book. Just because I feel like they would have been available anyway, or similar players, you could have got somebody else for that pick, to fill a need. So since we are here, on the Falcons, there's another Georgia player up there. I mean, historically speaking, especially in the past 6-7 years, you can't mess with those players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jalen Walker was the best linebacker according to the war he won.
Right.
I think he's James Harrison-ish, which isn't a bad comparison for the kid. I think he's serviceable for them because they do need some edge work. Now, this James Pierce pick, I have my reservations about him. Do I think he's a damn good player? Yes, I do.
Right.
But the way he plays the next 2 years is going to determine if that trade was worth it. And that's a lot riding if you're Raheem Morris. Like, your seat is getting pretty warm already.
The Kirk Cousins thing didn't help.
It did not help. So your seat is getting pretty warm already. So that's going to determine how good. If the James Pierce thing works out and he's a dynamic pass rusher and all that good stuff, I'll give him a B+ for this draft. If it doesn't, it ain't looking too hot.
I mean, again, I try to understand the moves. Like, okay, I understand you feel edge is a problem, but you've also lost some interior linemen. Like the fact that Grady Jarrett's in Chicago,
Bro.
who were you replacing him with? Like, who is on this line? And stopping the run has been a problem for the Falcons on that D line for years. Now, I understand you want edge. Edge is sexy because it gets the sacks. They get home. It's sexy when an edge rusher does their job. However, as the Eagles have shown and how Howie Roseman has put his imprints all over everybody's draft board,
Right.
you need some dogs on that interior of the line on both sides to do the dirty work. And I don't see a real emphasis from the Falcons on getting that dirty work done. They're still falling for the sexy edge stuff. And I'm
It's
like,
the sexy stuff. Because even if you look at Jalen Walker, he played off ball at Georgia. He wasn't a true edge.
right.
So yes, you got the best player available, for your defense, but is it a perfect fit? Not necessarily, but I think he's athletic enough. Like I told you, I compared him to James Harrison. I think he's good enough to be able to give you some work off the edge, but you traded your first for next year. I don't know how you think Atlanta's going to do this year, but I don't see them being outside of the top 15 as far as picking.
Yeah,
So,
it was very weird because it's like, let me see if I can pull up the order because I don't think they were that far away where it was like we got to move up to get them now. Like unless they knew something, unless they heard something. This is
right.
last year.
Let me give you a little breaking news. Shaq just agreed to become the men's basketball GM at Sacramento State.
Shaq.
Yeah, that just popped up.
So does that mean he gonna leave the show?
He ain't trying to work for Disney, bro.
Mm,
But that's for the basketball.
gotcha.
That's for the basketball.
Damn. Shaq out. Okay. And then we do have some games going on. No, Scrub Zero try to plug me in early.
Yeah, yeah.
God damn, the Cavaliers are up. Damn, they're a 40 piece.
It's
They're
getting
up
nasty out here.
43. So
It's
the
getting nasty out
Brooms
here.
are out.
Hmm.
The Brooms are out on South Beach. They'll be in Live later on tonight.
Oh yeah.
And then Jimmy Butler will play tonight.
Ooh, I like that.
So that's confirmed. Butler back in. He's going to give it a go. Real quick sidebar. Are we worried about Braun and them?
Let I'm a Warriors fan.
Right.
If the Warriors just so happen to get put out the playoffs, I'm pulling for him. The story too good.
Yeah.
You walked down KD last year, put him out of his misery. You're gonna do the same thing to LeBron and Luka. If the Warriors win, you would do the same thing to Steph. Then you would go on and beat the Celtics. The story just too good. You don't want to be the face of the franchise, but we need more RNs. If you catch my drift.
Nah, facts.
I am rooting for it.
YN or RN. So,
I'm rooting for it because he's unapologetically himself.
yeah.
I love it. I need it. That's who I'm rooting for.
All right. So let's. So the narrative last night was that LeBron and Luka were tired. They played the whole second half, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the thing: if you really watch the game, you can't have Luka taking 28 shots
Okay.
but also giving up 28 shots on the other end to various T-Wolves. Like that's always going to be the problem. We've been talking about it back and forth in regards to you got rid of Anthony Davis. I understand on paper. I understand in terms of jersey sales why you flipped AD for Luka. I get it.
Yeah.
But you also never addressed the fact that you needed a big now. You went out there, you tried to get Alex Len. That was horrible. You made that trade for Mark Williams. That got rebuffed. You had no size.
And that's been your thing. Even when you had Anthony Davis.
Even when you had AD, you still needed size. You still needed more size. So, I mean, the fact that you traded your best big for another wing, another ball-dominant wing at that, another ball-dominant wing that's not great defensively at that, it's like, well, yeah, what do you think someone like Ant-Man sees when he sees y'all? He sees Swiss cheese.
Barbecue chicken.
Big facts.
Even Nas Reed when he gets going.
Nasri, all them boys cooking. They're making Rudy Gobert look like he earned them depoys.
Which is making me mad because he started COVID.
He started COVID for sure.
Yeah, we going down that hill.
So I mean, I just wanted to get that out because I mean, I went and rewatched the game this morning. And I was just like, the narrative of Luka and LeBron played too much in the second half. That didn't make any sense.
No,
That's the only thing that kept them in the goddamn game.
They blew it late in the game anyhow. The Lakers really had the game won.
And LeBron did foul Ant. That was a foul, and I'm glad there's a system in place that can correct that.
And giving Gabe Vincent any type of valuable minutes in the playoffs is a choice.
Come on, bro.
It is a choice. Let's stop this.
I think right now, with Ant-Man looking the way he looks, and Julius Randle. Now, a lot's been made of what he is or he isn't, and being up here in the tri-state area, being from New York, there were a lot of Knicks fans that were down on Julius Randle, not really understanding what he actually is as a player.
Right.
This is the best of Julius Randle. Now, he's also going to give you the works of Julius Randle.
Oh,
but
for
more
sure.
times than not, he's going to give you this. He'll give you a 25. He'll give you 7 boards. He'll give you a couple of dimes. Like, this is who he is at his core. To expect more, that's the problem. When you start thinking, well, this guy should be our number one option. No, 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 no.
Blew it
He's your second or third option at best.
at best. And you've heard me say this a multitude of times. I think he's a terrible number one option.
Horrible.
I think he's a good number two. But I think he's a great number three.
Yes, he's a perfect number 3.
And that's how I look at him. I did now. Did I initially like the trade with Julius Randle? No, because now you lose the spacing on the floor. Because Julius Randle is not the shooter that Cat is.
Right.
With Cat, you legitimately spaced the floor. You had Ant. Hey, go work.
Facts.
But with Cat being gone and the floor is more compressed. I mean, hell, Ant was damn near the best 3-point shooter in the league this year. I think he was, right?
He was.
Boom. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I think ultimately, if we're going back and forth, and this wasn't meant to be NBA, but me and you know ball, we talk
Yeah,
about
for
it
sure,
all the
for
time.
sure.
So I think with what's left here, I think Boston's going to take care of business. All the real series, the only real series that's left is depending on what your squad does tonight if Jimmy's back. And then depending on this Laker Nuggets series. That to me is the one. Nuggets, Clippers, the fact that it's 2-2, I really felt the Clippers were going to be able to get another one at the crib. But I got no fear that they can't go get two out of the next 3.
Bro, that Aaron Gordon, dunk off the air ball thing.
Bruh.
It's crazy. I am happy to see that Kawhi is looking like vintage Kawhi again.
Right.
Let's fingers crossed that they can keep up throughout the entire playoffs because even I forgot how good he was when he's 100% healthy and he's 100% on his P's and Q's. I forgot.
Jordan. He's Robot Jordan.
Bro. And I told him, I said, bro, like, healthy Kawhi is top 25 all time. And that's no blinking. That's no hesitation.
The only man to put fear in LeBron's face during his prime, during his peak.
And
Miami
people tell you he lying, but no, that man looked back and said, "Damn,
yeah,
he coming back."
Yeah,
because he knew what to do.
Just got a hell of a lot harder.
Exactly. So the thing is, Jokic can drop 63 and they still lose because it's happened before.
Yes,
it's happened before. Even Harden, people was down on Harden, and Harden he ain't prime ISO beard, but he tapping in a little bit.
No, tell me if you co-sign this. I said he's playing like not how he did in Houston, where he was ball dominant and all of that, and it was just him and a bunch of dudes. But to me, he's looking like it was a very small sample, but Nets with Kyrie and KD. Like when he was just a point guard, all I gotta do is feed. Now he's feeding Zubac. Zubac out here putting up 20 pieces like it's light.
Bro, can we talk about Norman
Powell's out here bombs away.
Can we talk about Norman Powell, bro?
Bruh.
A storm and Norman. And I'm still pissed that LeBron sat out the All-Star game because you could just let Norman Powell have that spot.
Yeah, he earned it.
He earned it.
It's probably the only time he legitimately ever had a chance to make it.
Exactly, because he been playing lights out. He been playing lights out, bro. And I do agree with you with that James Harden take about the Brooklyn, because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, if you're talking about Brooklyn James, then that's exactly what he is.
Yeah. Because, man, Jokic is giving you 36 and 21 and 8 dimes. And he's shooting 50% from 3. And they still needed an Aaron Gordon dunk at the buzzer to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was the best game for all of them in this whole series, except for Jokic, of course. But, like, Christian Brown's been doing nothing. Aaron Gordon, that was the best game of the series for him. Murray's been spotty the entire run.
And he's usually hitting in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially in the first round.
Michael Porter, I mean, he's hit or miss. They live and die with Michael Porter Jr., and that's not anything an NFL, a NBA franchise that really wants to win should be saying. We live and die as Michael Porter Jr. goes.
Exactly.
That's a nasty statement.
It's terrible. And let me say this, man. It may sound like hyperbole, but I don't care. Nikola Jokic is doing the stuff they told us Will did. We're seeing it.
Yeah.
Because I've yet to see that film from 1936. I mean, we got Babe Ruth playing with kids. We got, Anne
Home team,
Frank.
Babe Ruth. Home team.
Exactly. We got Anne Frank, when she was going through her stuff in the attic.
Right. We
We
don't
ain't
have
see,
footage of the 100
we,
piece.
we ain't seen him in Hershey, Pennsylvania yet in 1936.
Right.
Why is that? We got Bob Cousy making shots.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're telling me someone, a footer, could roll out of bed
Come on.
and give you 29, 14, and 11 and shoot 50% from three as a
He's doing,
footer,
bro, he's doing stuff. Who can't even jump on a piece of paper?
no. And he's got almost 9 steals through 4 games. So he's picking pockets.
He's doing stuff they told us, well, yeah, bro. We
He's
are, we
doing
are,
everything. He's shooting 48% from three, 55% from the floor.
if they were to redo the top 75 list, there will only be
Oof.
one MVP who doesn't make it. Because as it stands, there's only been two. It's Derrick Rose and Nikola Jokic up to that point. Because we know Joel Embiid
Yeah,
made it.
Joker
MVP
is
now.
definitely like, yeah. If they redo it now, for sure, so will be the next one to be the next 100. He's definitely in that next 100. He's
He's at
definitely in
next
that
time.
next 25.
Somebody gonna
I
be
don't
real
know if
upset.
Rose is, but
No,
Jokic for sure is.
no, D Rose is not. But like I said, up until that list, as it currently stood, only two MVPs weren't on that list: Derrick
That's
Rose
wild.
and Joker.
That's wild.
So if they redid that list today,
Jokic is in there, and some of them old heads are gone too. By the
oh,
way,
definitely, definitely, because Dwight
some of
Howard's
them
in
old
there.
heads, like, yeah, because Dwight should be in there.
Dwight should be in there. Kyrie should be in there. And I've been arguing Tony Parker for
You
a
can make
year
a
now.
case. You can certainly make a case. If you're
Just
telling me John Havlicek
come on.
is top 75,
Buddy told me, but look who Tony Parker played with. Did you forget what Tony Parker was? I'm pretty
right?
sure that Tony Parker has the third most points before turn 25.
He had to walk through a lot of good point guards. Like that's peak Steve Nash. That's peak J Kidd.
But
That's
that's
still
Darren
a good
Williams,
Gary Glove.
Darren Williams,
Darren Williams. Who's the
Baron
problem?
Davis. Come
Yeah,
on. Starberry. What are we
yeah,
talking about? What are we talking
yeah.
about? Tony Parker was like that. Don't act like he had that patented roll to the right, float that thing up off the back
Right.
of the
The
glass.
teardrop. He had that.
Let's
He had
stop.
that.
Let's stop. Tony Parker was a problem. Now, if I got to pick between Dame and Kyrie, I'm going to pick Kyrie every time.
Oh, for sure.
Died on the hill. It shouldn't have been Dame. Only reason Dame got it because Kyrie was going through stuff with the book and all this stuff he was on.
Right.
That's it.
All right. So we got basketball out the way. I just think that Scrub Zero always keeps us in the mix with what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
The games are going on. All right, let's see. Let's get back to some of this NFL shit. So we talked about the Falcons. Any other teams you want to spotlight in terms of good drafts, bad drafts, questionable picks, things of that nature?
Go to the Ravens, bro.
Oh
Go
boy,
to the Ravens. Go to the
let's go
Ravens.
ahead and do it. Another Cal Hamilton. Another Cal Hamilton.
I will say this. I love Malachi Starks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Raven. That his play, he's a Raven. Now he's not the fastest guy. He's not gonna jump off the screen with a blazing speed. But can he cover? Yes. Will he attack the ball? Yes. I thought he was the best DB in this draft. But I said that at the beginning of the season last year. Aside from Travis, of course. If we talk about
Right.
just purely DB, everything that is that come with it, he's that guy. I loved it. And then what's his name? Bilal Cone.
Uh-huh.
I gave him I put him on the list too. Long.
Yes.
I like what he can do. That was a steal. Get him in the
Sixth
sixth
round.
round. I love it because hey, Marlon Humphrey, you can keep making your IG videos and TikToks you want to.
You're getting old, my boy.
Hello, yeah, that boy coming. I, the biggest thing here is Tyler Luke, Justin Tucker,
Yep.
Nasty Man.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Honey Pack Justin Tucker.
Out of here. That's pretty much what they told me. LeJounte Western. I mean, hey, look at all these receivers who were drafted out of Colorado. Who the hell was throwing them the ball?
Yeah, exactly that part. They had the most receivers taken in this draft. Colorado had the most receivers signed or drafted in this entire.
Who was throwing in the ball?
Yep.
I do like him as a receiver. I wish they would got Lamar prime. If had they taken Emeka from Ohio State instead of Malachi Starks, I would have been mad at that because man, you have lamented that Lamar needs a number one who's just stretch the field.
Yes.
What did they give him? D Hop.
Old ass D Hop. 3
D
years
Hop.
too late.
That's Derek Fisher, on the Thunder or something. Get out of here.
Facts. Yeah.
What are we doing? I don't like it. Give this man some weapons.
I just
Tired
don't
of it.
understand it, man. I don't get it. I don't get why they keep assuming. Like, what more proof do you need that Jalen Hurts is good, right? Hard
Yeah,
shot.
for sure. For
But
sure.
look how much better he looks with Devontae Smith and goddamn AJ Brown and Saquon and Goddard and one of the best built offensive lines we've seen in quite some time. Look how much better he looks with all of that. You're
Bro.
basically thumbing your nose at the blueprint that has been proven to work year after year after year. And the Ravens are thought to be one of those franchises that is supposed to be one of those ones that are ahead of the game, ahead of the curve, and draft well and know how to construct a roster.
Right.
I want to believe you,
He
but
just
I
not-
can't because you keep refusing to give this man adequate weapons in their prime.
Like, why does he have to be Superman all the time? I'm pretty sure he want to be Clark Kent some of the time.
I mean, he would love to just sit back and let a wide
Cook.
receiver cook. Just throw a quick screen and let him house it.
Come on, man.
Or just throw up a fade and just let somebody just go get it at the high point and just go to the crit. Like,
This is how bad it's been. Zay Robinson made the Pro Bowl. You know that's the first Raven receivers to ever make the Pro Bowl,
bruh,
and he shouldn't even made the Pro Bowl.
shouldn't even made that Pro Bowl, bruh.
He should have been Brian Thomas Jr. But back to Malachi Starks. He's the only player in FBS history to play 1,500 snaps at safety and 500 at quarterback.
That's insane.
Look, like you said, another Kyle Hamilton. I like.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a damn good.
I see the vision. Like, I see the vision.
But help your
We're-
man's
we're-
out.
We're going to double down on what's working.
Mhm.
Got Kyle Hamilton. He's an ultimate weapon on defense.
Right.
I get it. We're going to run it back and do it again. Now we got two sides. We
Mm-hmm.
can have a dude coming down in the box or dropping back playing top tier safety coverage. I understand it. At 27, though, is that a need? No.
It's not. It's not. The only other things, I want to talk about the Seahawks. They drafted DK Jr. on the defensive side of the ball, but the Bucks at 19. We talked about this off camera,
Yep.
and we both said this pretty much tells me that Mike Evans is almost done.
It's a wrap.
It's almost done, and I don't even think receiver was a need.
No, it wasn't. The succession plan is in place.
It's in place because you're pretty much telling me it doesn't matter who our quarterback is. You're gonna have somebody to throw the ball to.
Right.
Because you definitely needed help on that defensive line as far as edge.
Yes.
And you need some help in the linebacker room.
I think that whole 11 man. I don't think the secondary that great either. Like
No.
anything as you see here, they went DB the next two picks. Like
And they signed Shallow.
and they went out there and got shallow. So clearly secondary was a need. Yet they
Yes.
still went out there and got a Mecca.
You got a receiver there. So the pick surprised me because I knew they were going defense there.
Mm-hmm.
But that just tells me Mike Evans is on the way up. It's been a great career. I think you will walk into Canton, go get your 1,000 yards for this last year
Yeah.
and hang your hat. Go party on a boat with, Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
And and again, people are sleeping on Emeka just because he played next to Jeremiah Smith. This is the leading catch. How can I put it? Yards. Help me out here, Sam. The most catches in Ohio State history.
The most yards in Ohio State history.
I think it's most catches.
Most catches in Ohio State history. And if you look at the receivers that have historically come out of Ohio State, that is super high praise.
That is high praise.
From Chris Carter all the way through Harvin Marison.
Exactly. And he was looked at as a number 2 on that team because he's next to T.L. Jr.
Right.
So
Right.
as
I
a
mean,
damn,
I think for the Bucks, like I get it because again, just like it's beating a dead horse because we always talk about the Ravens refuse to help Lamar, but this is a franchise decided, hey man, we realize we only got Baker Mayfield, and we
Only
not about
got
to
him.
hand Baker Mayfield the keys and say go win us a game.
Right.
We're gonna keep making sure we got 2 good wide receivers,
At all
we got
times.
a couple of good running backs, we got a decent tight end, the O line is improved. We're gonna keep making sure we build and surround whoever the QB is now and for the near future. With there's weapons here. Whoever pulling up, you're gonna have receivers to throw to and backs to hand it off to.
You gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to talk about if we wrapping it up here is Howie Roseman,
The GOAT
number 32.
always finds a way.
How?
I,
How?
he keeps giving them the blueprint and they don't follow it. They copy and paste some of it, but not all of it. And I don't between Howie Roseman and I'll talk about the Lions in a bit here because I like Brad Holmes. I think it's right there with Howie in terms of GMs that know what the fuck they're doing and know how to construct a football team.
Definitely.
But to your point, they get Jihad Campbell, the local kid comes home. He's an Eagles fan. Having the name Jihad in Philly, how we know what he's doing.
Bro.
But anyway, talk to me about Jihad Campbell because he flashed every time I watched him on tape.
Bro,
Explosive,
sideline.
looks the part. Like
It took me a minute to get his comparison down. And I saw all the professionals giving their takes. But watching him, not just highlights, but going through and watching some of the games, he's a less destructive Reuben Foster. And I say that less destructive because Reuben Foster would put his ball on the line and not care if he got hurt.
Yeah.
And if you remember him at Bama, his freshman year, that kickoff when I think they played LSU, he ran down and laid Fournette ass out.
Yeah, he blew it
up in his sophomore year, but he got hurt doing it.
right.
That's the type of player Reuben Foster. Where he put his ball on the line with no regard for his own safety. John Campbell is like that, but he's smarter with it. He's fast as hell. He's sideline to sideline. He can cover. He attacked the ball. He can attack. He got long arm, bro. He can get at it. And the Eagles got him. Why? All these people who needed linebackers, bro. The Colts need linebackers. Do you know the person they drafted was a safety that they plan on converting? The only linebacker you have left is Zaire Frank.
The Chiefs traded back or allowed them to trade up. You tell me the Chiefs couldn't use Jihad Campbell?
Bro, what are we doing?
The way they got Swiss cheesed up in that damn Super Bowl.
Why do we keep letting this happen? And I'm a Cowboys fan. Why do we keep letting this happen? Why? And the Cowboys, we still need a second receiver. Now I'm not mad at you going O-line because that was a need. The Cowboys really didn't have a bad draft. It was a B draft. I mean, Tyler Booker, that's our third lineman named Tyler. You know what I mean? You got some running backs toward the end of the draft, but what's the quarterback we got? I mean, he's good. He's coming off an ACL injury, so we hope he can, bounce back from that. Jaden Blue was a good running back. Phil Moffitt was a big guy, downhill guy. I mean, it wasn't a bad job, but hell, you're pretty much making on Kevontae Turpin being more than what he is, which he had a good year last year.
Which is really dicey, bro.
It's dicey.
As hell.
It's dicey. He's a special team. He's an elite special teams guy. I mean, once he gets the ball in space as a receiver, yeah, he can make stuff happen. But like you said, that's dicey. And we still don't have enough. You pretty much need your superstars to be superstars all the time. And we've already lamented that, like when the lights are too bright for Dak,
who gonna help him? That's a real thing again because we keep talking about QBs that are good and then you surround them. The Cowboys have someone in Dak who is good but needs
he needs more
surrounding, and they're not doing it.
They're not doing it. I did say these past moves in the past 3 drafts are reminding me when we drafted Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. Why the hell they keep drafting the O-line in the first round? But it paid off for 7-8 years. Granted, they didn't do much with it. I mean, one of the best O-lines to play in the current era, but it didn't lead to an NFC championship. It didn't lead to a Super Bowl. It just led to, it's the best O-line in the league. But
yeah. So
this puts me in the mind of that. We're close. I mean, making these moves, it looks like we're closer to a rebuild than we are to competing for a Super Bowl.
I think it's time. Like at some point, you have to press that reset button. But the
problem
is, you got 3 guys, or you would assume 3 guys with Micah's contract that are going to take up 60% of your cap.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell you rebuild around that except the draft. Like, ain't no free agents coming there for the low. It's Dallas. Like, they want that bread. So you're going to have to hit on all these draft picks like how Jimmy and them did back in the day.
You know, the last time we spent some real money on a free agent, Greg Hardy.
Wow.
And you see how that panned out.
God damn. That's a long time.
It's a long time. And it was a bad pick.
And
So,
it was a bad
and
pick.
it was terrible. So I'm like, we're closer to a rebuild than we are competing. And I hate to say it, especially with the Eagles, you know, coming off a Super Bowl title. And then the Commanders looking like they at least an NFC, you know,
They are
championship
legit.
player.
I like the improvements.
Yeah, for sure.
Again,
So,
surrounding. We got Jaden Daniels. We hit on the pick. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? Debo, pull
surround.
up,
Yep.
enhance that line. Continue to enhance that line. Enhance the running back position. We're just gonna keep overwhelming. Surround this kid since we got him for the cheap. They got Jaden Daniels the cheapest he's ever going to be right
Hmm.
now. Maximize that window.
Yeah, so you want to talk about the Lion, huh?
Yeah, man. Look, I think Brad Holmes. Now, again, sexy is not a thing, but in terms of again,
It's a great pick, though.
you build through the trenches. You build
McNeil,
on the lines.
McNeil's coming off I think, an ACL injury, right? And that was their starter.
Believe so. Yes.
So he's going to be
So
missing some time. So that was a
I
good fit.
like Williams a lot.
Hmm.
I know he's not the flashiest for sure, but I think interchangeable. I think you can move him up and down that line, and Detroit loves those types of dudes on the line. They like the interchangeable pieces. I would like for you to walk me through the wide receiver from Arkansas here, because I like what I saw, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I crunched a lot of tape.
Hmm.
But the little I saw, I was like, okay, like J-Mo, but not as fast. That was
And
kind of what I picked up.
and that's not a bad comparison because you got to look at his frame, right? And J Mo
Right,
he's a slender guy.
right,
So I mean, you're getting Jared Goff another weapon. I
right.
mean, anybody if you can thrive in the ACC, in my opinion, especially at the receiver spot, you can thrive anywhere. And we know Jared. I mean, with those running backs, I mean, how much work are the receivers getting anyway?
True.
Because I mean, you still gotta think you got Jameer Gibbs, so you can spread him out anyway.
Yep.
So I mean, he's a big body. He's slender. He's an elite slot player.
And the
And
thing is, J-Mo's proven we can't trust him for a bunch of reasons. Injuries, off the field shit. We might not be able to just fully trust that he always gonna be there.
yeah, and
So if
the
we can
thing
have a
about J Mo,
bootleg version of him in the tuck,
right?
just in case,
Hmm.
so be it.
And J Mo, he's a funny one though, right? Because he'll flash for like
Yes,
three straight
it's
games,
annoying.
and
It's
then
annoying, bro, because he'll look like, oh, he's ready. He's ready to
yeah,
go. He's out of here.
number two,
Yeah. And then he'll disappear.
disappeared. Like
And
they give
then
you a jet sweep, you taking
St.
it.
Brown is getting 12 targets a game. I'm like, well, where's J-Mo? Well,
Where is he?
Detroit's asking the same thing. He's out there, but where the hell is he?
And then you
He's
got
running
you
those
Jameer
routes,
Gibbs,
but where the
so
hell is he?
right. So it's a good pick. I mean, J Mo, you on the clock now. Like
Oh,
you said,
for
this,
sure you on the clock.
he's a bigger target. He's slender, so they will keep him in the slot a lot. So maybe you get some mismatches on the slot corners, on the quarterbacks. Maybe route up some safeties or something. But I think it's a solid pick.
So again, if the Eagles have given the blueprint and the Lions were also doing the same blueprint, but if we're under the adage of follow what the Eagles are doing, go
Hmm.
out there, D line off rip, and then they go and get interior line on the offensive side off rip.
Hmm.
Now, okay, J-Mo, we don't know, hit or miss. All right, let's go get a clone. Then
Right.
again, spin the block again. You see a theme here, SEC. Just
SEC.
like Howie, Big 12, SEC, we don't fuck around. We're going to the big schools to get the best players from the best programs. We are
Yep.
not fucking around.
You're
And
not.
you're seeing it here. SEC heavy with these picks.
You would think that's the only place they watch film.
I mean, at some point, again, we know this from video games. Hey, bruh, if I see a motherfucker from UGA and he got a good grade, I'm just gonna go ahead and say pull up, pull up. I'll figure it out later.
We'll get it. We'll get it right later.
We're gonna get it
Bro,
right. I'll find a package for you.
go to the Seahawks, please. Go to the Seahawks.
All right, so they go interior line with the first pick at 18. They
Mm-hmm.
did need guard, interchangeable, could play up and down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But is that what they really needed at 18?
You got Clint Kubiak, right?
Yep.
He has to make a Pro Bowl to justify this selection.
Is that bad of a reach?
You address the need
Mm-hmm.
for sure because you needed help on the interior O line.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to make the Pro Bowl to make this justifiable.
Got you. Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say about that one. Nick, on the other hand,
You like Nick?
come by Warrior.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Like I told you, he is DK Metcalf, but playing defense. That's the only comparison you can make to him.
Yeah.
He's explosive. He's fast. He's strong as he was built in the lab. If they start putting this man at
Cam
linebacker,
Chancellor Jr.?
yes,
Damn. Okay.
but fast, more athletic,
More athletic. God
and that's saying something because you remember when
Cam Chancellor was a fucking problem.
jumping over the field goal line he did it 3 times
Yeah.
in the same game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how explosive this kid is.
Mm.
Like when you tell me you lost DK, so if I don't know if you can dual train him to be a receiver,
I mean,
but
why not?
if you can,
Why
put
not?
his ass over there.
Yeah.
So let's drop it down some more. You talking about workout freaks? Let's go down some more.
I like Arroyo a lot. I know you're a big U guy. To talk to me about, because again, I'm no longer a Bears fan, but I keep them on the purview. I said, look, what they could have passed on Loveland and spin the block later and go get Arroyo. Interchangeable to me. Like I don't think it's that big of a gap between what Loveland could do and what Arroyo could do.
Right. He's faster than
Mhm.
people would think because of his size. I think he has great hands. He can run almost any route. Honestly, I would compare him to.
Can he block?
He's a better blocker than Isaiah Likely,
Okay.
but not. He doesn't stick to the block like David Njoku would. So he's probably
Got
between them two as far as
Good
the
enough, but not
Good enough.
really a weapon in terms of
Right.
blocking.
So I would say his athleticism is similar to David Njoku.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily Isaiah Likely because I think Isaiah Likely is just a big wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I think he has great hands. He's not the best with contact considering he is, pretty big. I think they need to put him down there with some linebackers. Hey, go get used to being hit. But that was a great safety blanket for Sam Darnold. You seen what Cam Ward did with him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great.
for sure. Yeah.
And then you got Jalen Milroe. I told you about workout freaks. And Nick, look at granted, I remember when Jalen Milroe first came on the scene in Alabama. When Bryce went down. Was it Bryce?
Mhm.
I think it was Bryce. That man, his first snap, ran about 60 yards for a tutty. And all I remember saying was, damn, they got Vic 2.0.
Mm.
Because he's bigger and stronger.
Yes, he is.
And probably a sub 4.3. I don't think he ran his 40. Which whoever was in his head to combat about that, they're now his team. His team should have, son, you need to run.
Yeah.
Because I fully believe he would have ran a sub 4.4, 4.3.
Mm.
And I'm willing to bet a lot of money on him. And I don't like people try to compare him to Lamar Jackson as far as how he runs. I don't think he's Lamar Jackson because
Same, yeah.
he's not as elusive. He's more powerful when he runs.
Yeah.
So it's closer to a Vic, but it's not Lamar. But you telling me that you can't use no systems with him and say, no, like, I think about the league is moving more to a more mobile running quarterback type of game now. And you got somebody who perfect wildcat.
Yes.
So,
Agreed.
and then back to Nick for a second.
Uh-huh.
McDonald, he coached Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore.
Right. So he gets a clone. Yep. Makes sense. I mean, they're certainly drafting with the image in mind of the type of football team McDonald's trying to build. Tough,
Yep.
hard-nosed to get the tight end that's likely, that's built like likely, or maybe
Right.
even, a better Mark Andrews. So he's building a lot of Baltimore shit
Yep.
into what they're doing in Seattle. So I'm not mad at it.
You see, you got Torrey Horton down at the bottom.
Yep.
And correct me if you see another SEC guy.
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think they got Damian Martinez out of Miami. They said,
There he is. Yep.
bro,
Big schools.
that is, and I told you about him, but that's a big dude.
Yeah. And now you pair him in the backfield with Walker. I mean, that's tough.
That's a big dude, and he runs hard as hell. And I like him because he embraces the contact. He
Mm.
reminds me of a more elusive Maurice Jones-Drew because
That's
he
impressive.
he gonna embrace the contract, but he can give you a little step
He could
and
break
make you
away.
miss and get you going. I think he's that type of player. I hope he makes the cut. And speaking of Kenneth Walker, I don't like people comparing Ashton Genty to not Emmett to Barry Sanders. I don't like that.
Oh God, who's doing that? That ain't no
I,
ball. That's a nasty
he's not
comparison.
Barry, and then they compared him to like Emmett Smith. He's more Kenneth Walker than him and Kenneth Walker
Yeah,
have the
Emmett,
same
that doesn't
attribute.
even.
It doesn't
No.
track. It doesn't track at all. And I kept saying, I was like, bro, who's doing this? Why? What are y'all watching to get this comparison? He's
Yeah.
more Kenneth Walker than anything.
And that's not an insult. Like
It's
Kenneth
not.
Walker is a top 5, top 10 back in this league.
Yes, and the thing is, like, Kenneth Walker doesn't fumble the ball. Ashton Genty has had some fumbling
No
problems.
problems.
So
I'm trying to think of. Yeah, Genty was a tough one to figure out for me because I saw elements of multiple different back to him. I saw a little LT in there. I saw a little Edgerrin James in there.
mhm,
But I just couldn't pick just one guy.
you can't
Like,
pinpoint it. You
he's
can't
a
pinpoint
mix
it
of a bunch of different dudes.
because even I saw
Which is a good thing.
it is because I saw some Jay Ajayi in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe it's the
see that.
look,
Maybe.
the team, but
Maybe.
I saw splashes of it. I saw a little bit of Melvin Gordon when he gets in open space. I
Yeah.
see the build and everything else. I see Kenneth Walker. Like that's him.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much it's closer to how they did David Montgomery. They call it like the Frankenstein of running backs. Like Ashton Genty has a little bit of him as well. So I mean, Dante Thorne Jr. right there.
Uh-huh.
We talked about him too. I sent you him to look at.
Yep. I got a chance to look at him.
This is what I would say. Route tree is abysmal, but he falls into
Okay,
the
you
Tennessee.
said it before.
Yes, yes. He falls into the speedster receiver from Tennessee though.
Yeah. JJ
None
Love.
of, none of them run routes.
No.
They literally, hey, go burn somebody.
Streaks, non-route, go.
And I don't like that. Now I get it's college. All you trying to do is win games, but damn, like you got a position coach for a reason. Like everybody ain't gonna be Amari Cooper out here with the routes, but
Right.
please route somebody up.
Yeah, that was the thing that stood out to me watching him was, okay, obviously physical specimen.
Mm-hmm.
Burner, as you see here, 6'5", 205 with 4.3 speed.
Right.
Like that, and that translates on film. Like he
It
looks
does.
fast, right? Even at 6'5", sometimes the taller dudes, they don't look fast when he's running. That motherfucker look fast when he's running.
As hell.
But outside of that, it's like I don't know what you're expecting from him. Like, is he only going to be on there for Hail Marys? Like, what exactly are you going to use him on third and long packages? Like, I don't know. You're not drafting him to be a number one. You're not drafting him to be a number two. I don't know how that translates. He can't route nobody up, so he can't be a slot.
It's not.
What is he? What does he? Are you going to move him?
He would have been great.
I don't know what you do with him. Like, so I understand why he got drafted. I just don't know what the plan of
Not here.
action is with
Not
somebody
here.
with this skill set.
And think about it. What does Pete Carroll do? He loves to build his team through the run.
Yeah.
You like I said, I just compared Ashton Genty to Kenneth Walker, who Gino just played with, and Pete Carroll just got done coaching. So
I mean, unless you're telling me we're going to establish the run with Genty and then do play action and take shots and then put Thornton in to win those shots.
because you got to assume Brock Bowers is going to take a lot of that attention
Bowers
in
gonna
the
take some
in
attention.
the middle of the field. So you're like, okay, let's put him on the island. Let's see if he can get it, get it and go.
He has to be on an island because he's not. Yeah, just the route tree was very bad. Like, and that could be that could be the system. Tennessee, as you said, Tennessee. That's just how they do things. But also, in watching some of the stuff in terms of pro day and combine and stuff like that, like I didn't see no routes either. Like
No.
even when he had a chance to show that he could actually route somebody up, it wasn't happening.
It was terrible. And so it's like you said, it's hard to judge him based off that. I mean, I can get where you could maybe find a need for him, but if you can go back to Pete Carroll's offense, he wasn't throwing many go get it balls, even to
No.
DK. Not
No.
really, unless he had to. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like, it's gonna be interesting to see how this Las Vegas team.
And Gino throws a good deep ball.
He
So I
does.
mean, it's the weapon should be there. Like
Mhm.
maybe if okay, if you're telling me, because who else is their receiver there? Who's their number one? That's not Brock Bowers. I
Jacoby
don't even know who
Myers,
they
which
got. Like so,
maybe Jacoby Myers. That's terrible.
shit. God damn.
So you really ain't giving Gino much. And you asking Tom Brady to come out of time?
I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't unretired yet. Let's see, Raiders. Who the fuck is even on this depth chart? Positions, receivers, too far. All right. So we got Quadera. Ismail is still in the league. Shedrick Jackson, Jacoby Myers, who you said,
Yeah, that's nasty.
Justin Shorter, Trey Tucker, DJ Turner.
So Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers really about to carry this team.
Yeah, they have no receivers whatsoever. I see why Thornton got drafted, because there's literally nobody else here. So you might as well take a shot. But god damn, there's nobody here.
Yeah,
Jacoby Myers is your clear number one, and that is horrible.
and that's saying something. That's saying something.
That's pathetic. I don't know who the GM is. I mean, I know it's probably Tom Brady low key, but I don't know who the organized GM is there.
I'm glad Shedeur didn't go
Piss
there.
poor.
I'm glad Shedeur didn't go there. That is literally terrible.
Yeah, because who the hell is Shedeur throwing to? He would have had to go get Shiloh to convert him.
Somebody. That's bad.
You see, did they take any other receivers to kind of, because they
They
clearly
got,
need it.
and then you see JG Pegues. He worked out as a D lineman, as a
Yeah.
tight end, and a fullback. That's another project.
Can he play? Can he play receiver? You may have to fucking put him on the goal line and let him flank out wide real quick.
He gonna have to do something. That's nasty. I
So
didn't realize
imagine
how bad
you're a GM. I guess they took Beck. I mean, Beck. I'm not the biggest Beck guy. At least he could run routes, so maybe he could teach Thornton to run some routes.
But look what you're saying. Like, you're an NFL receiver, and you're saying at least you can run routes. Look what we're doing.
No, I mean,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
problem. It's a problem. So again, you were at 6.
Mhm.
Was running back a need? Yes, but I don't think you needed to take. Looking at that roster now, clearly a receiver was a need. And while there was no Harvin Marrisons, I'm not saying take a Mecca at 6.
I'm not even saying take you Matthew Golden.
I
at
ain't even say
6.
take T-Mac at 6. But you had to have a plan of action to get better receivers than this.
Yeah, that's
You
that's
can't come
bad.
out of this draft where there was some really good receiver depth, not top tier
Yeah.
receivers, but good depth at receiver. And you walk away with Beck, who can only route you up, and Thornton, who can't even route you up, but is a burner.
Yeah, that. Somebody's gonna be out of job soon.
That is piss poor.
Mm.
Oh, Talasco was with the Raiders. All right, thank you, Scrub Zero. I mean, he won't be there for long. You're drafting like this.
Right. Like, even if you took Jalen Royals out of Utah State, I told you about him in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
He got a good route tree. He can jump
Yeah.
over the ball. Like, I even like him there. But like
Let me see where can I find that?
Jalen Royals he went to the Chiefs, which is not a bad grab for them.
That's not bad at all. I didn't know that's where he went.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad at all. And that's in the 4th round. That's sneaky.
Right.
That's
You could
sneaky.
have easily got him in the second round.
Yeah, that's sneaky. I like that.
Because now you got a legit guy who can do some routes, and he plays bigger than what he is.
Right.
I like him a lot. I watched
As
his
they say here, he gets a lot of yak because he's shifty.
Very shifty.
He's got some
Very
whip.
shifty. Yes. Chiefs didn't do bad. You seen
I mean, they went O-line. I mean, like we said, they let Howie move up and get Jihad. They could have used Jihad themselves, but I understand taking the tackle. Definitely a need, so I understand.
yeah, because that O-line needs serious work.
For sure. And
He
then
goes
they
to the
go
Rams.
D-line with the next pick because,
Yep.
again, Chris Jones ain't young.
He's
So
not.
you have to have a plan in place just in case. You got to start to think of that succession plan.
Did they get a tight end?
Uh, nope. Now they didn't have a lot of picks. They only had 6 picks, no 7 picks.
Oh,
No
man.
tight end. No real weapons here outside of Royals.
Yeah, no.
And I guess you want to go Smith out of SMU at running back, but who knows if he make the roster?
Their history of running backs outside Jamal Charles and the older guys really is not
Shaky.
great.
Yeah.
So
But
can you go to the Rams
the
right
immediate
quick?
need, which was tackle. So
Definitely,
you
definitely.
have to say the draft is a win for them because they needed a good tackle, and they, it's assuming health, got one in Simmons. But
Fingers
outside of
crossed, bro.
that, yeah,
It ain't sexy at all.
no,
It's not sexy.
no. But knowing what you're trying to protect, you
Mhm.
have to do it.
It makes sense. But also, when you see that Mahomes he can't do it by himself anymore.
Now, are we ready to say, has he reached his peak? Is this the best? Have we seen the best of Mahomes already?
I mean, with what we've seen, I don't even think that's a bad thing. If the answer is yes.
But for someone who's not 30 yet, to say, damn, he's done already.
What is he turning 30 this year?
I think he turns 30.
I think 30 this year. Yeah, I think we're the same age. Yeah. I mean, I still don't even think his best. I think his best football is in front of him though.
Okay.
But
But in
as
terms
far
of
as
his athleticism,
his athleticism, yeah. Oh no,
he's-
no, 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 no.
he's peaked with that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, he'll be
Which
29.
is-
He'll be 30 when the season starts.
Which is why I'm glad they were supposed to get those offensive linemen. But because who do we realistically compare him to? Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won 2 more MVPs after he turned 30,
Right.
back to back.
I do think though, and I could be off here, and this may be giving the future Steelers starting quarterback too much props.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron Rodgers kept himself in better shape than Mahomes.
That's fair.
I don't know how Mahomes' body holds up. Not to say that he's not working out. Clearly he is. I just don't know if he's paying attention to longevity with his body, with the way that he takes care of himself or lack thereof.
That's fair. That's fair.
Not to say that he needs to be a six-pack abs and all that shit with the V cut and all that to play
Right.
quarterback, but for someone that's supposed to be or came into the league with some mobility, and at times uses it
Definitely
as
lost
a
it.
weapon, he has used it less and less as the years have gone on. And I don't know if that's culmination of hits, because you see here with the sacks, he's been getting sacked at a pretty good rate, 20 plus, almost
Yes.
30 multiple times, 36
Yeah.
times just last year. So the wear and tear on his body might just be beating him up to where he can't be a mobile weapon anymore.
And yeah, he's the most dangerous outside the pocket.
And that's the issue to me.
And that's
You take that weapon away where he's now just a pocket dude. Is he still a $500 million man if he's just a pocket QB? I don't know if he's that good of a thrower of the ball. He's certainly got top tier arm talent. But I
Definitely.
don't know if he's worth half a bill if
Right.
he's not mobile anymore, or he's not even a threat to move around anymore.
yeah, it's not even just you don't have to scramble. We're talking about escapability here.
Yes,
Extending plays.
yes.
And
I ain't even asking you to be a dual threat anymore. I think those days are long gone. You can't get that back.
no,
I mean, it was a small window of him being a dual threat QB anyway, but now we're just asking him to be mobile.
I think
even that's looking shaky.
the last we saw that was like the last time they played the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think the best he looked is when they played the Bengals. Before they played the Super Bowl, the Eagles against the Eagles the first time. But yeah, those days are over at this point. Now, if you can still get out the pocket and make some shape, I think he's still Patty.
Let's see if we can find his rushing. So his rushing yards, he's only giving you 300 yards. But if you see the attempts took a drastic fall off. Like, 60, 60, 60, 75, 58 last year. Like, he's just not,
He was getting hit too much.
he's getting hit too much.
36 sacks.
I mean, yeah, he's not looking to run. Like he doesn't have the spirit to run, and I think that's because he's been getting beat up. And part of that is, are you taking care of your body to
Right.
withstand those hits?
You also got to think his right tackle was probably the worst in football,
Swiss cheese, turnstile.
and he gets holding pills like nobody's business. So even if he is getting some scramble yards, they getting called back. So you really taking hits for nothing. So I think he learned that early in the season. Was like, you know what? No, not
No,
doing that.
I'm just
Not
gonna dump
doing
it
that.
off. I'm passing. I am
Exactly.
passing the rock.
All right, so let me ask you, man. Overall, who do you think had the best draft?
I would love to say Detroit or Philly just because it fits a narrative,
Right.
but I'm gonna go to a team that we haven't spoken about yet. I really like what the Patriots did.
So
Will
I get
Campbell,
my
you spoke on him
I
earlier
get
in the
my
stream. Love the pick, best offensive tackle in the draft. You got him. I love Trayvon Henderson. Putting him in that backfield. Now, again, is he perfect? No. But I think for this NFL, where you're just going to use guys up 2-3 years and move on to the next one anyway, I think Henderson, you can use him up for 2-3 years, maximize this cheap window of Drake May. I like that pick, and I think they're really invested. I mean, Jared Mayo started it. We'll always give him props,
right.
but this is now Mike Vrabel's team. I like the depth pieces that they got. I'm not the biggest Kyle Williams guy, but I think in terms of the core that they're building around, he could learn under Stephon Diggs.
Great
I like
routes,
the fact of what Kyle Williams could bring
hmm
if his head is on right.
of course.
Interior line play, I like that with Jared Wilson. Some of these other guys, I'm not going to say like I know all these guys, but just in the sense of knowing what they did with their first few picks and the mentality that they were going for with their first 3 picks, I'm going to give the benefit. Well, if I'll go first 4 picks, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to these other picks. But just in terms of their first 4 picks, knowing that a lot of these guys are not flashy guys, but they just get the job done, and that's that Mike Vrabel mindset and what Jared Mayo was starting to build last year. I really like what the Patriots did.
He's supporting his quarterback.
Yeah. Hi, Baltimore.
Free agency, the draft, he is supporting his quarterback.
We found our QB. Let's surround him.
If you're going to compare Drake May to Josh Allen, why not get him a James Cook?
Sure. I like
And
that.
that's what you did.
I like that comparison.
Because I think he's dynamic out the backfield. He can catch. He has one cut ability. He can put his head down. I mean, him and Quinshon Judkins were a great duo.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, like, people say you need a thug and a Christian on your team. This is definitely the Christian of the team.
For sure.
So you know his head's going to be on straight.
If
And
you got
even
Diggs, who's the thug? So you good.
knocking down Cardi B. He moved
Yeah,
on.
I mean,
And I even like the Craig Wilson pick out of Cal. That is a Vrabel guy. He's versatile. He can switch. He can go inside. He can go out. He can drop down. Like, he has great technique. No matter what the scouting report says, I didn't even look at the scouting report. I watched the film. He has great technique. He can find the ball. That's a Mike Vrabel guy. So it's similar to what was buddy out of USC that he had in Tennessee. Escaping my name. It's escaping me right now, but Vrabel guy. I think they had a solid draft. Like you said, some of the names aren't sexy, but they definitely shore up some needs.
yeah.
Even the kick out of Miami, he's accurate.
That matters.
That matters, especially in New England.
Yeah.
So I think they had a great draft as well.
How about yourself? Who do you think had the best draft?
To be honest, bro, the Browns didn't draft badly.
Okay.
It just overshadowed by the
Right.
DS.
Right.
You know, I think if Mason Graham, like you said, if Mason Graham turns into, he's not going to be Aaron Donald. Let's
So
just be honest.
bootleg Aaron Donald, Canal Street Aaron Donald.
If he can give you some Kristen Wilkins, I think that's fair.
Was it Byard who you were thinking about?
Yes.
There you
Yes.
go. Thank you, Scrub Zero.
Thanks, Scrub. Carson out of UCLA, he can do it all. He's sideline to sideline like the way he down here. Christian Judkins, we just got done talking about him.
Right.
Harold Fannin, I don't think he got the credit he deserved because outside of the Copelands and
He
the
flashes on film a lot.
a lot of Arroyos and all that good stuff, he's a big body guy, and you got him with Njoku.
Now do 12 personnel.
You do that 12 personnel, you're golden.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel, I mean, you kind of wasted a pick there. You know how I feel about Shedeur. I mean,
Look at this,
even
though. Undersized, weak-armed, super experienced QB. Imagine that's the blurb.
that's what they're telling. That's what they say about you.
Undersized, weak-armed, super experienced QB, and that's who you traded up.
Yeah, you the
Go
ugly,
get.
you the
Come
ugly
on,
girl in
man.
the club. You just know what you're doing.
The lights were too dark, my boy. Them lights came on and you still went for it. The
Come on.
lights came on, you still thought that was a hit.
The only reason you did it because it's easy. It's a swoop. I do like Dylan Sampson. I like him.
Yeah.
He's different than Quinshawn Judkins because Quinshawn Judkins can put his head down and go. He also is more elusive. Dylan Sampson, he ain't doing none of that.
Okay.
He trying to run through you.
I like that.
So if you're saying, hey, we don't believe in Nick Chubb or Jerome Ford anymore, okay, we got two guys that we do like, and then obviously Shedeur. So honestly, this isn't a bad draft. Did
It's
you
not
waste?
a bad draft. The
you
only
waste
weird
picks?
thing that stands out is Dylan Gabriel when you take Shedeur later.
Yeah, that's weird as hell to me.
Because
And
even
then-
again, we just talked about undersized, weak arm, super experienced QB for Dylan Gabriel. Then you go to Shedeur. Sanders is a pocket quarterback who wins with anticipation and great, not elite accuracy.
That's a lie.
Alone
That's a
destroys
lie.
Dylan Gabriel.
Bro, not elite accuracy is a lie.
No,
That
he's
is-
hella accurate. Short to intermediate, he's hella accurate.
I ain't gonna say elite. No, wait. Does he not lead the FBS in career percentage?
If not, he's up there.
No, I think he's number one.
He is number one.
He's number one. I think
Yeah, 'cause
percentage
didn't he do like almost 70% or like over 70%?
it was over 70%. So not elite arm accuracy is a lie. Again, when you compare his athleticism, it's similar to Cam Ward. Again, they're not running any 40-yard dashes, but they can get out the pocket. And the way he can level his throws, the way he reads the field, he throws in anticipation. Think about it. He was making some tough throws with people in his lap for 4 years.
For sure. All 4 years, he had trash O-line play.
He's ready for this moment. He's used to putting up trash O-line, and he still made great throws. And then they want to say, okay, his arm's not as strong. I've seen him roll to the left, throw it to the middle of the field, and make a touchdown. So overall, aside from missing on Abdul Carter, and it's yet to be determined if it was a miss. And then the Dylan Gabriel thing, you just kind of wasted a pick there. I think you could have got another defensive lineman or linebacker. That's just me. I think it was a pretty solid draft.
Bruh, some of this this blurb on Dylan Gabriel is sending me capped ceiling due to age and athletic deficiencies.
That is nasty, bro.
This
And
is who you took in the 3rd round, bro.
that's nasty. Go to
Can
the
be
Saints.
adequate backup in time.
You can't even be a backup right now. Can you go to the Saints? I want to see what they said about Tyler. I gotta see.
And
That's
at least
nasty.
with Shedeur, they're cautious decision maker. His arm strength is solid, and he has problems eluding pressure in the pocket because of heavy feet. But
That's a
again,
lot.
but even if this were
Even if
true,
right.
that still shits all over Dylan Gabriel. So it's what analysis was the Browns' brain trust looking at on their board that had Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur?
Really. And I don't want to sound like a homer for Shedeur. I will say his decision making could be a lot better. Just because you can make a tight window throw doesn't mean you should always throw it.
Sure.
It is okay to check it down.
Yeah.
It's okay. And that's what I would say about Shedeur. But that Dylan Gabriel read is nasty, bro. They clocked him.
Undersized, weak-armed. I mean, they got him here at 5'11". He don't look 5'11", bro.
He's not. I think he's shorter than Kyler Wilson. Kyler Murray. Kyler Wilson, I get that wrong.
Weak-armed, super experienced. Those are not good traits.
It's not.
Telling me, hey, he's played this position a long time, but he's got a noodle arm and he's small as hell. That's not positive traits. That's not.
even when they talk about Bo Nix playing a lot of games, the most games in college up until that point, at starting most games, they were still giving him praise. Super accurate, athletic, da da da. Da. You got none of that.
It is absolutely insane. All right, so we talked about drafts we liked.
Hmm.
As we wrap up, give me one squad who just shit the bed with their picks, had no clue in terms of what they're doing and what they're trying to build.
I don't like the Saints.
Mm. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look.
I didn't like it. Kelvin
Don't
Banks
mind, but Banks,
is solid, but that second round pick, what are we doing?
I don't. Yeah,
What are we
don't like
doing?
it at all.
Like I said, you're drafting as if you're going to go get Arch Manning up next year.
Right.
That's the type of quarterback you see. 26-year-old quarterback. He's had three season injuries.
Can't blame Saints for picking a QB, but this is too early for someone without much upside. I mean, it's right there.
That alone, that alone tanks your draft for me. Because what are we doing?
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's not good, bro. Like, and everything else after that, it's like, eh. I
Mid.
do like, I like Danny out of
Okay.
Oklahoma. That is a linebacker.
Okay.
I like him.
Okay.
I wish the Cowboy. He gives me
Oh, I didn't know they
late.
got Devin Neal now. Hang on
Yeah, I
now.
did. I did say I like Devin Neal. I like Devin Neal, and that was a steal in the sixth round because me and you talked about him last year.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah, I
Devin
like
Neal.
that.
Danny, he gives me Leighton Vander Esch type
Okay.
linebacker,
Uh-huh.
so that's good. I mean, maybe he can learn under Demario Davis and all that good stuff. But other than that, this none of this screams. Oh
It's
yeah,
a
we're
mid pack.
we're trying to compete.
Yeah, definitely a mid pack.
And for you to say, oh, he's not good, he doesn't have upside. That second round pick is just abysmal, bro. Like you can't make
Especially
that pick.
compounded like because again, like you said, like Banks is good, right?
It's
But it's almost
good.
like allegedly there was only three really top tier tackles and he was the
Yeah,
third.
he's
But
a
to
third.
me, the gap between the top two and him was a pretty good
Right.
gap. So
It's a
like
big gap
it's a big three, but not really, because it was
by
really
default.
just Campbell and Membu. And
Man,
then
but
Banks is just kind of thrown in there as a big three, like
hmm
because I don't know if you needed to take him at 9. I know the Bears would have took him if he was there at 10 because it's the Bears, but I don't know if I really felt like I needed to take Banks at 9 to shore up my O line.
I mean, you got an offensive lineman, but who is he protecting?
Right. I mean, you got Jalen Carr with that mysterious injury that we thought might have been a smokescreen for them to go get Shedeur,
Right.
which didn't turn out to be the case. They go with fucking Show or Skull, whatever, from Louisville instead. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with a lot of these names. Outside of
I did,
Neil, I like Neil, but again,
I'm scratching my head.
Kamara's got some years left in him. But
I'm scratching my head at this entire process that the Saints went through.
yeah, yeah.
So hell, Archie might do it again.
I
He's
mean,
not.
why not?
He's not going there.
I wouldn't go there if I'm Cooper and I see my son lined up to be a top pick and the Saints are right there. This draft right here does not give me confidence that y'all know what y'all are doing outside of a handful of picks.
Yeah, it's disgusting. They will have probably number one pick next year.
Speaking of which, we could do a way too early
Hmm.
mock. Let's see. Our good friends at Tankathon always got the mock drafts ready.
Watch out for Lenore Sellers. I think he's going to be solid.
They got him 16 to the Steelers.
Hmm.
So we
Okay.
got Arch at 1.
Tracks.
TJ Parker, I've watched him. I don't know if I'm this high on him, but I understand he looks the part.
Not that hell.
Caleb Downs, a safety going 3?
I will say this about Caleb Downs. That's a football player.
Okay.
That I don't know about number three,
Right.
but that is a football player, bro.
Let's see the big board. All right. So It's a lot of linemen.
Ruben Bain should be up there.
He's top 10 on the big board.
All right, so let's talk about this. Look at that. 6'3", 275. Son, if you don't get your goddamn hand in the dirt and move to the inside.
Yeah, I'm about to say like him off the edge at 6'3", 275, like that's like an oxymoron. Those two
His
things don't
freshman
go
year,
together.
dominant. Speed rusher. He's has
Yeah.
been eating down there in Coral Gables, bro. He's gotten heavier the past 2 seasons. But at 6'3", 275, it's time for them to have that talk. Son, do you know Aaron Donald?
Right.
Go be dominant inside, and you're bigger than him. You're taller than him.
Yeah, for
Go
sure.
go cook. Go
Mm.
cook. I don't like him at the edge anymore. I just don't.
I ain't gonna hold you. As much as people are looking at next year as a QB rich draft,
It's not.
I ain't seeing it.
Outside of Arch, you got Drew LR, who I'm not sold on. Garrett
Nussmeyer
Nuss
is
is
I.
he's okay. Carson Beck running from the grind because
Yeah, facts.
you remember they had him as QB1 over Cam Ward and Shedeur to start the season. K Klubnik, I mean,
And then all the nonsense with Nico that's tanked his status.
I didn't believe anything that man. I blame his dad for that. His dad got greedy, but this man said it was the offensive scheme. Son, he got Joe Milton drafted.
Right.
You can get Joe Milton drafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
It ain't the scheme.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at this right here, just looking at this list. I think Arch is the best one there by far.
Mm-hmm.
If you give Lenore Sellers a chance, I think he can shoot up some boards. I mean, Carson Beck. I'm not really too sold on him. Drew LR. I mean, he gonna win a lot of games.
Right. But it ain't gonna be because of him.
Let's be honest. We saw it in the playoffs. He sold the pipe dream to everybody
Yeah.
because he's not that guy. I think Clay Klubnik is gonna buy a lot of hype next year. I think people are gonna be like, okay, he should challenge Arch for the number one QB spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in the system for forever. I mean, to say it's a QB rich draft is pushing it. And I don't get why everybody's so high on Garrett Nussmeier.
I mean, I have a lot of family out that way, so my cousins have been trying to tell me about Nussmeyer, and I'm like, I don't see what y'all see. I just
I mean,
don't
throwing,
get it.
throwing for 4 stacks or something, but look at the people he was throwing to.
Yeah, I
Rest
mean,
in peace, Kyron Lacy.
yeah, like he should be doing that. Like if he
Should.
was halfway in this decent, he should be doing that.
But yeah, think about it. That's what Brian Kelly quarterbacks do anyway.
I'm just trying to find like because this a lot of people are saying this draft is going to be like talent
Martin
rich,
Lawrence.
and in terms of skills position players, I'm not seeing it. Wait, there's no good tight ends. You tell me there's no tight ends on the board? Okay, all right. Receivers.
I like Zachariah Branch. I think he can move up. I mean, I think he's what? I think he's better than what that
Fields
says.
from a size perspective,
Mm-hmm.
he's just slow.
Yeah, I don't get what people were saying with this draft.
Yeah,
I think
don't know
Cornell-
about stockpiling picks for 2026 based off this. Now, maybe
Now, if you look at the next year, Jeremiah
27.
Smith, come on,
Oh yeah. He's gonna be Harvey Marison. So
Ryan Williams, come on.
okay. So yeah, 2027. That's the year to be stockpiling picks.
Hell, even Chris Johnson Jr. is a running back in Miami. He may be coming up.
Good lord, just hearing that name alone makes me feel so much older.
Bro, do you know that Chris Johnson Jr. could run a 4.2?
Those genes need to be studied.
I think he can legit run a 4.29 right now.
That's just insane. That's insane.
And and think about it, he was playing behind Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher last year. So they ain't even unleashed him yet.
They ain't even get a chance. Yeah.
He haven't even been unleashed. And in our dynasty mode, he my second string running back right now.
That tells you all you need to know.
Hey, I'm just waiting.
Oh shit.
Yeah, bro. I don't get next year. They was reaching with that. Outside of, I think Proctor will be a good lineman. I mean, but Bama always produce him.
Yeah. Bamish. I mean I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Now that I'm seeing what the Browns potential, I mean, look, if you're telling me the Browns walk away with Arch and Proctor, now is that trade worth it? If I'm telling you we're going to pass on Trav and we're going to pass on Abdul because we're going to walk away with
The
Arch
Jazz
and
pick.
Proctor, yeah, they're going to walk away with Arch and Proctor next year. Is that worth passing on Abdul and Trav?
In the grand scheme of things, you would have to say so, right? Because I imagine four of those quarterbacks ain't gonna be on the roster if that happens.
Right.
But then you got a Sanders and a Manning on the same team.
Box office.
Jesus.
Those jerseys going to go crazy.
Hey, this gonna be Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark type
Energy.
racial tensions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be alluring. Now, granted, I think both families will step in if that was to happen.
Oh, for sure. It
One
won't be
has
no
to-
real smoke.
No,
It
no,
wouldn't
no.
be no real smoke.
One of them has to go. Especially if Shedeur finishes the season and plays
But
well, and
does
it
both
turns
of
into
them got to go? If one's a fifth round pick, he ain't even costing you no real bread.
That's fair. That's fair. But do you see Arch coming in if he's no one pick not playing though? And let's say Shedeur do finish the season as a starter.
But see, here's my thing about Arch, right? And I'll just say it. I know the last name. I've watched him. Is granted not the greatest sample size yet. We'll learn a lot about what he is this upcoming season. However, I don't see can't miss. I don't see Bonafide without a doubt. This is the dude you tank for. Like I don't see saving.
Oh, easy. I don't see that about anybody in this draft. But I will say this:
Sure, go ahead.
watching his high school tape, you're like, okay, yeah, the hype it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you're playing against people my height, and I'm 5'5". You know, and those safeties and cornerbacks are literally being paid off not to hit this kid, right? So I was not high on him coming into college. However, he has a swagger that's undeniable.
Oh, for sure.
Like when he gets into the game, you can tell this ain't Eli or Peyton's kid.
It's energy.
It's an aura, as the kids say.
Yeah.
He can take over the game. I mean, I would say he got some legs on him.
No, he can run. He's a dual threat.
Legit dual threat. So,
but I like more of his legs paused than the arm.
Yeah, definitely.
So
especially with the last name being what it is, and neither one of them had that.
A man that could run, oh shit. But then I'm not that impressed with the arm because let's also be real. Peyton and Eli didn't have the greatest arms.
No.
So you're not getting like, Vic arm strength or Marino arm strength or even Josh Allen arm strength.
Right.
You're getting above average arm strength.
It's above average, of course.
But now you're also getting, I won't say top tier mobility, but above average mobility at the next level. He can be top tier in college running the rock. He won't be top tier in the league running the rock, but he'll have above average mobility.
I think it's slightly less than Daniel Jones, which isn't a knock because Daniel Jones can run.
Yeah. Vanilla Vic at one point.
Oh, for sure. So I mean, like you said, not savior, but the allure of it, right?
Yeah, like if this was, Archie McDaniel, I don't think he's QB1.
He's not. But if he goes out there, give you 3,500 yards, maybe 30 tutties, less than 7 interceptions with
if
400 or 500 yards
I'll
rushing.
walk all this back. But off of what I've seen and just off of
in the
knowing
SEC
his
now,
skill set, I
the
haven't
SEC.
been that impressed.
Right. Again, small sample size.
Right.
And I will say I did change the way I saw him after I viewed him in high school. So I'm like, it's a lot of hype. And nobody's touching him. They're two-hand touching him. If anything, his receivers need a lot of credit from high school. They would make some unbelievable catches. But either seeing him come in cold off the bench when Ewers got hurt or just being thrown in the fourth quarter, third quarter type thing, like, okay, I can buy into some of the hype.
Yeah.
Now he's going to have to show us what a full season what he can do.
He's going to have to. For me, he's going to have to do it. Like, I don't like the idea of just handing people the top pick.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like, all right, like.
It's definitely got to be earned.
He had to wait in line. Now it's his time. If he shows it,
Go
cool.
cook.
But if he's not necessarily mid, but if he's just okay, like he gave you reasonable production, that to me still ain't. You gotta take him number one. Like, nah, I ain't here for that. I ain't just.
Right.
I don't give a fuck who your daddies and uncle is.
As far as Richard Turner, if he goes in and does what Tua did after coming from behind Jalen Hurts,
Different. Show me. But I mean, again, Tua cooked. He went out there, he got the
oh,
opportunity, and he took full advantage of it and cooked up.
and people forget that they were calling Tua the chosen.
Right. People were
That
tanking
was,
for Tua. That was a real thing that happened.
that
People were
wasn't
tanking for
Trevor.
Tua.
That wasn't Trevor Lawrence's name first. that was Tua before he had that hip injury. So
Tua was thought to be one of those.
one of one,
Yeah.
left-handed,
Right.
pinpoint accuracy,
Great accuracy, good
His
enough
capability.
arm strength.
right? Escapability. He
Yeah.
was thought to be great decision making. By the way,
Oh yeah.
great decision making. Tua was thought to be one of those. So if Orange can come out and have that type of season, take Texas to the playoffs in the SEC, Quinn Ewers did it. So
I mean, shit. Yeah. I mean, if Quinn could do it, you can make it through anything. If Quinn did it, I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like it's way too early right now, but
way too early. Way too
Well,
early.
well-
It's interesting to see. But I will say, if they are able to get Arch and Proctor,
it
that
would
would
have been worth it.
make
It would
me
have been worth it.
understand the trade more.
Yeah, because go 6'7", 360 is crazy.
Yeah, that's just. I don't even want to stand next to that. I'm good.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's he'll kill somebody.
Yeah. All right, let me do a quick check of the. Let's see if there's anything NBA real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. Appreciate you as always, my man, for coming on and giving us your insights on not just basketball, but football, of course.
No doubt,
All
no
right,
doubt.
so the Cavs are definitely taking care of business. They're going to go ahead and sweep. I mean, this is embarrassing. I mean, this is like a 60 piece. They're getting 60 pieced on their way out.
Yeah, you have to appreciate Jimmy Butler a lot more for what he did with that team.
I mean, this is just.
Because it's more or less the same team.
It is. I mean, Adebayo was there. Talahiro was there. A lot of these core pieces were there. Duncan Robinson was there. Like a lot of these dudes were on that bubble squad that made that run to the finals.
Yeah, you had that Williams, like Caleb Williams, you had Gabe Vincent, all that good stuff. But let's be honest, you know
what I'm saying? Like
it's dudes.
it's the whole heat culture thing of we'll take your nobodies and make them into something. That shit sounds cool
Until you have to do it.
until you need a guy.
And Jimmy was
guy
that guy.
was Jimmy, and Jimmy said, "I'm tired of carrying Gabe Vincent. I'm tired of carrying Bam. He's spending too much time with Asia. I ain't mad at that, but I need more from you than 13 and 12.
That shoe was nice too.
That shit's is hot, bruh.
I might have to cop me
Might
them
have to do
blueberry
it.
joints. Them blueberry
Yeah,
joints.
if
That was
I catch
nice.
those at Burlington,
Hello,
don't let me see those at Burlington.
hello. You gonna see me rocking them things in October for the rest of
Hell
Wilderness
yeah.
games, boy.
Shit.
Nah, but yeah, like I was arguing with somebody the other day. I was like, but Jimmy's a top 3 playoff performer in Heat history. Like, no, he's not. I'm like, you just mad he left, but he most definitely is.
Yeah.
It's
Is
undeniable.
D Wade? Would you put him over Braun?
I'm willing to.
Wade, Jimmy, then Braun?
I'm willing to, because LeBron had a squad. It's created by him.
Yeah.
Jimmy took the lesser team twice.
Yes.
Twice.
Indeed.
So I'm willing to go that far.
That is wild. Just to having that statement is wild.
It is, bro. Who you got taking the whole thing, man? NBA.
Shit.
You give me matchup. Give me matchup.
Let me get the bracket here. I would love to see the Clippers come out the West. I'm really big on Kawhi. I think I've talked about it on the pod, but I feel like they have figured out how to load manage him perfectly. Just take the first 3 months off, pull up in January, and give us 6 months. Because that's all. If you look back and track when his knee starts to fuck up, it's always
Yeah.
around that 5 to 6 month mark.
It's always February, like early February, around
So,
All Star or something.
and if he's been playing since October, that's about 5 months right there. So he's only got 5 months in that knee. All right, fine. Pull up in January.
Right.
That'll get us to May. And if we're still playing in May, that means we got a chance to get to June. And then
Mhm.
they'll just cortisone the fuck out that knee
Got to.
to get
Got
him
to.
through June. Like,
Okay, so you
but
got the Clips in the West.
I got the Clips in the West. The East to me is so anticlimactic. I feel like it should be Boston, but the way that Cleveland looks, it's hard for me to ignore it. But I I don't want to be that guy, but I almost feel like I gotta see it before I could
Right.
believe it with them.
Right.
Like it could have been them last year, and they just couldn't do it. Like so, it's hard for me to navigate it because I believe in the roster,
Hmm.
but I also believe in if I have the more talented players, I should win.
Of course.
And when Boston pulls up with Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Holiday, even Derek White to a certain degree, even fucking Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year, like they're gonna have a lot more dudes that are more talented than the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with Clippers Boston,
Hmm.
but I know how this works. We know they want Boston to come out the East, maybe
Of
the
course.
Knicks if they had their way, but the West, we know they want the Lakers, or if your squad can make a miracle run, like they want one of the big stars in the finals
Hmm.
coming out the West. But for me, I would love to see Kawhi and them get a chance here. How about you?
So for me, I have a different reason for it. Like, of course, I'm a Warriors fan, but I don't see them making it far if they do get past first round.
Hmm.
I would love to see Detroit come out of it because I'm loving the ascension of Cade Cunningham into this national spotlight. Like
For
that,
sure, I like
that's
that too.
doing that's doing
Yeah,
wonders for me, right? But let's be honest, we know that's probably not gonna happen.
right.
Um, but I like what Cade Cunningham's done all year. Like you said, it's easy to go at Boston because it's kind of just right there. I want to believe in Cleveland to see them get it done without LeBron. So I'm gonna go Cavs. I'm gonna go
Hmm.
Cavs. The West, I'm gonna still lean with Ant, bro. I'm gonna go Minnesota
Really? Okay.
because
Okay.
and I asked myself this other day. I said, why aren't we putting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander into the face of the league conversations? Is it the lack of charisma? Is it the corny commercials with Chet? Is he too much of a team guy? Like why aren't we putting him there? You know? But
Mm.
I don't know, bro. I don't know why we're not putting him in there. But I feel like if Ant go through LeBron and Luka, go through Steph and the Warriors, and
Yeah.
then maybe beat Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs or Jason Tatum and the Celtics, bro, like crown him. Crown him. So
I love
that's
that
what I'm saying.
storyline.
Mhm.
I love that storyline. Like I think if Ant Man does it, he's the face of the league.
Easy.
And that's been a big debate. And he's like, I'm not the face of the league, but no. Guess what though? You walk through KD, you walk
Yep.
through Braun, you walk through Jokic.
Hmm.
And you go get a Larry Ob. You walk through potentially Tatum.
With Julius Randle as your number two.
Right. Guess what? You're face of the league.
You're the face of the league, bro. You gotta be
Embrace it.
after
You know
telling
what I'm saying?
Obama,
You're
yeah, I'm
certainly
that
embracing
guy.
it off the court. You
For
might as
sure.
well embrace it for real, for real.
Even the Olympics, telling Obama, yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm tough. Like they can't see me. And
Yeah,
sure
I'm the
enough,
best
he's walking
person.
through all these fucking legends, walking them down. He's a real legend killer. He's on some
Easy,
Randy
bro.
Orton shit.
Next Infinity Stone. So like for that, I would love to see Cleveland up there just to get past the whole Braun
Mhm.
thing. Oh, we got to the finals without him. But I would love to see Ant-Man come out the West, bro.
I mean, let me see if I can pull up the bracket.
I want nothing more but for Tom Thibodeau to fail. Just because
Oh
we
yeah.
did Derrick Rose. I will always root against him.
Yeah,
That's
look. I will put that on my tombstone. Fuck
yeah.
Tom Thibodeau.
Oh,
He
for sure.
ruined the last remnants of my basketball fandom.
Easy.
Let's see, get that screen back up here. So I mean, if we're talking about Thunder, Clippers,
Mhm.
potentially in the next round, or Nuggets, we'll give the Nuggets a chance. But I'm more partial to the Clippers. I think that is where the Kawhi thing and the fact that he's healthy, because as much as SGA most nights walks out and he's the best player on the court, he ain't gonna be the best player on the court if Kawhi is healthy.
That's true.
And then the beard is still him. And you're going to need to get something from Chet. Chet's been kind of up and down. I've been waiting for Chet to kind of come into his own. I know he's coming back from injuries and whatnot, but
Jalen Williams been balling, but that's a Kawhi
Jalen's definitely
matchup.
been balling.
That's
But
a
they
Kawhi
need that
matchup.
presence on the inside because now, especially if it's either one of these teams, either you're going to deal with Jokic in the paint or you're going to deal with Zubac in the paint. So either way, Chet and Hartenstein are going to have to figure it out.
I like Hardenstein. I like that move better because Chet is shaped like Caitlin Clark, bro. He can eat up.
Yeah,
Pause.
yeah.
But
He tries hard, but he's just too undersized.
yeah,
Too
but
skinny.
both of those guys are problems for Chet in the paint. Yeah,
And that's so if Ant-Man could pull this off,
you potentially.
I mean, I like them against the Nuggets. I mean, I like them against the Rockets too. Like,
I like against the Rockets and the Warriors. That was a bad draw for the Rockets, though. You getting Steph Curry and a playoff Jimmy?
right,
Hey,
right.
come on.
As a 2 seed, like you finally figure it all out. Ime Udoka is finally shaking loose of the whole Nia Long thing, and he's a 2 seed. And now here comes Steph and playoff Jimmy. And even if you get through that, oh by the way, here's Luca and Bron or Ant-Man on the mission.
Yeah,
That's a horrible draw, bro.
they got a bad draw, bro. That was. This is probably the worst a 2 seed could have it, honestly. Because
The game has gone final. The Miami
Jesus.
Heat have gracefully been eliminated 138 to 83. We could do that math. That is a double nickel deficit.
Mm,
Double fucking nickel at the crib in an elimination game.
Bam about to be on his way to Las Vegas.
The PJ is warmed up. The PJ is warmed up. He ain't even gonna shower.
Is
Shower at Asia crib.
That's what I do. Yeah,
So with this East now, so obviously the Cavs move on. Now we got Pacers, Bucks. Bucks are done, especially with no Dame, Giannis. Well, here's the thing for you as a Dubs guy. Everyone's thinking now,
yeah, you gotta go.
Giannis is out. We know Wardell has openly been flirting with Giannis, but does the Jimmy thing now hinder the ability to go get a Giannis? Was the move made too soon? We knew we had to save this season and go get Wardell some help. So you go get Jimmy, but did you mortgage too much to go get him to now you don't got that much left to go get Giannis?
I think the move had to be made, even though it was done early. Because I fear if you didn't get Steph some help this year, he was gone in the league.
Got you.
And I know it may sound crazy to say, but hell, Luka's not a Dallas Maverick. So if he's not Dallas Maverick, then anything is possible at this point.
Right.
Do I like what Jimmy brings to that team? Yes. But it's Giannis, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's Giannis.
You got to do it.
Draymond won't be there. Kaminga won't be there. Moody won't be there. Pazinski won't be there.
Is this the last year of Draymond's deal? Or
This
is
is
it next
the-
year? He did a 4-year deal, right?
This is the 4 years, so he got 2 more years. Because you got to think about this. Klay Thompson's first year at
Yeah,
Dallas,
so
and he was only a year in. Yeah, it's the last ride though for Draymond. I think this is the last ride between Dre and Steph. Get him out of there.
I mean, if y'all get Giannis, I could see Steph hanging on, but yeah, Dre got to go.
Gotta go.
I mean, he should have never gotten that deal in the first place, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's that to me is the one thing holding it back. It's like, all right, I could see a big three of Giannis, Jimmy, and Steph. But the problem is you got Draymond still there, and he eating up 25 M's a year.
Right.
So financially, you really can't do it
You can't do it because
unless you use Jimmy to go get Giannis. But then that kind of defeats the point.
defeats the point. If I had to pick between two players, between Jimmy and Giannis, I mean Giannis is the more dominant player. I think he's the better player, but Jimmy kind of gives you more as far as a skill set.
Right.
So I mean, but yeah, I don't think Giannis is in Milwaukee after this.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, the Nets have been flirting with Giannis. I don't know what they have to give the Bucks, and that's kind of the thing. Like, if you're
Mm.
the Bucks don't have no picks. They're they got Middleton off the books, but now they got Dame, who ain't even gonna play next year.
$60 million. What's that cap hit next year?
That's yeah. So how? So if you trade Giannis, I mean, the only team you could really send them to in terms of getting some of those picks, you got to send them to the Nets to get some of those Nick picks that they got for Bridges.
Even if
Unless
you
you
want to
do
go,
OKC, but then because there's not a lot of teams that have a lot of picks except the Nets, the Jazz, the Thunder, and I'm probably blanking on one or two others, but there's not a lot of attractive places if I'm Giannis where the Bucks get what they need, which is a shit ton of picks back, and I
mhm.
get what I need, which is going to a team that can win.
Yeah, because I don't really see them getting young players, but I just go get picks. So I'm thinking about the Magic in this situation. I don't build it up to get a Giannis.
Mm,
Because I know some people talk about KD possibly going there. I don't
yeah,
like that. I don't like that.
I mean KD definitely gonna go somewhere.
Oh, he gotta go somewhere.
If who is a KD away from
Detroit.
being a real contender?
Detroit.
Mm,
If you take Tobias Harris off and play KD, I think they.
shit, Cade and KD with Duran. Mm, I like that.
I think he. I think that works. You got Hardaway Jr. there. You got Beasley.
If you're the Pacers, now I don't think KD will do it. I don't think KD wants to be in Indiana, like we all spoke about earlier. But if he likes to hoop though, and he want to hoop with a squad that could win, that's all he care about. He's on some AAU shit. I want to go to the best team where I can win.
Mm-hmm.
Hallie, KD, Miles Turner, Siakam. You probably have to put Siakam in the deal, so you probably can't keep Siakam.
I don't think he's there.
So Hallie, Turner, and KD. Is that enough?
It certainly makes things interesting. I don't think the Cavs can stop that.
Should he go to the Cavs?
Who's there? You got Darius Garland, Spider, Max Struz, Isaac Okoro, Jared Allen.
I think it's time to have that Jared Allen conversation. Move Mobley to the 5.
Ooh.
Have KD be the 4. Now you got
Do you
Mobley
keep
and
Struz or Isaac Okoro?
I would want to keep Struz, but if I have to give him up, at least I know I got a Coro, and I can hope KD could teach him how to shoot. But if my big three is now Mobley, KD, and Spider,
And Garland isn't a bad
and
fourth.
Garland is a good 4th, I'm looking at Boston saying, now what?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Imagine the storylines though, like KD going to LeBron's home to make
But
that.
that's the thing. It's like he's running out of places where, because there's always the talk of him going to Miami. I don't think that makes any sense.
Hell no.
Like, because if Jimmy was still there, maybe. But
Mhm.
like, I mean, I would say Milwaukee, but Dame ain't gonna play next year.
Yeah, that's another.
I mean, I think the Pistons one certainly is the sexiest.
I know people were talking about maybe pairing him with Wemby, but I just don't see that working. I mean, it'd be a mismatch for everybody, but I just don't see that working. It wouldn't make much sense in Sac.
No, I mean, if they
Yeah.
didn't have Levine, if you're telling me DeRozan, KD, and Sabonis, I'm not mad at it. I like Sabonis and KD together. I could do without DeRozan.
Yeah, it's a mid range version.
Yeah.
Memphis is a no-go.
Memphis doesn't work.
That's
I mean,
that's
shit, low
nasty.
key. I mean, it would never happen. But I think he should be a Laker or a Clipper.
If you're doing that, take your ass back to the Warriors.
Not if Draymond's still there.
Yeah, Draymond gotta go. Draymond can't be there.
Because I mean, if you're trying to be, if the whole thing of the Lakers, I mean, both teams, the Lakers and the Warriors, are both trying to extend their best player, or in theory, their best players with the Lakers more so. They're trying to extend their best players' window as long as possible. Then, as good as Luka is, clearly we've seen so far through these first 4 games against Timberwolves, that ain't enough. So where's the upgrade going to go? I don't think there's going to be a magical big falling off the sky that's going to have the skill set of of an AD. So why not just go overboard and just wing it out and go get KD for the low?
I mean, having a lot of wings ain't necessarily a bad thing. That's pretty much the Minnesota Timberwolves right now.
Right. And you still got dudes for the cheap. You still got Rui. You still got Vanderbilt. You can get Jackson Hayes back for the low. Like, you're going to
Got
get
the next
Swiss
four.
cheese.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely going to get Swiss cheese with size. But, man, I got KD, LeBron, and Luka. All three can handle. All three could dish. All three could shoot. All three could take over.
I don't see it happening though.
I like him on the Clippers. Him and Beard were so that thing was going to work.
It
It was
was
going to work. That year
Kawhi,
the Bucks
Harden.
won, that Brooklyn squad, it was going to work. Him, Kyrie, and Beard, it was going to work. If I could run it back with Beard and Boardman,
Mm-hmm. That's a heavy West. Just in
that's where
California.
it's at, man. That's why I think Cleveland and Boston need to do it now. Put all your chips in now, because
You put KD on one of them squads, it's
yeah, it's a wrap.
squashed.
Dog, you put KD on the Clippers. I don't know who they have to give up. Would you give up Zubac for KD?
Yes. But then you're in the same spot as the Lakers. You don't have a big.
I trust that Ty Lue knows how to get more out of a big than JJ Damn Redick.
So not according to Scrub Zero. I don't think he should be on fraud alert.
Yeah, I'm very heavy into Ty Lue. Pause. I like Ty Lue a lot. I like Ty Lue.
I think he doesn't get enough credit for what he's done. Honestly, I think as far as in-game adjustments, I think he's
Yeah.
up there. He's top tier for sure.
When it comes to X's and O's and all that stuff that Bron and JJ were talking about on that podcast and going crazy about, Ty Lue was doing that already.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Bron got a lot of that shit from, but he just don't want to admit that.
Yeah, I mean, does his teams lose steam a lot halfway through? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he's
fair.
got an old ass beard and he's got an old ass board man whose knee has been fucked up for almost a decade. So
Yeah. So I'll give you that one. If we're to put anybody on fraud alert, I think it should be Doc Rivers. Honestly,
Doc Rivers is permanent on the fraud list.
if anybody should go on that list.
Thibodeau, Doc Rivers. I'm not the biggest Missoula guy, but I can't kill him. I just not.
He kind of fell into a good situation though.
He damn sure did. I mean, if Ime wasn't so horny, he's still riding the pine.
Who's one of your heroes, Shannon Sharp?
Damn it, they both going for the same types too.
It gotta be Ime, bro. You had Neil Longer home.
He had Nia Long and he smashed some chick at the office that wasn't even popping.
You had Neil Longer home, bro. Neil Long probably the finest woman alive.
Still, to this day.
Yes,
Deontay Wilder, to this day.
to this day.
And he still tricked it off. I mean, but the thing with Shannon is this, right? Like, Shannon's that classic case of a dude that didn't grow up looking the best.
Travis Hunter.
I mean, he tricked off a gig that could give him 7 M's a year for some OnlyFans box.
All you had to do was goon over LeBron.
Bruh.
He tricked it off.
the way that Braun has handled it, and look, hey, men are going to be men. So Braun, I ain't saying nothing that ain't known. Braun been outside. He might not be outside right now, but at one point in time, especially in Miami, that man was outside.
Hey, be careful, man. You in that territory, Rich Paul gonna have
Allegedly,
some suburb. Oh yeah, clean it up.
allegedly, LeBron was outside.
He gonna
Okay?
have some Suburbans out there.
I mean, it's some pictures of Braun and yes, Jules. The internet is forever. I don't care how much you
I'm
try to scrub it.
not mad at that.
Pusha T damn near said it in a verse.
I'm
He
not mad at
admitted
it.
the whole. All right. Pusha had it first. Braun. All right. Let me not. All right. Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's all alleged.
Allegedly. But yeah, Shannon, man, the thing about it that is like, you went through all that bullshit with Skip.
Let's skip.
You got fired prior to that from CBS. They let you go. No one really believed. You couldn't really talk the clearest. You had your accent. You didn't look the best. Like, it was a lot of things you had to overcome. And you found your niche. You found your hook. And you won. And then you trick it off for some mid pack, some 19-year-old mid pack, and you're choking it out allegedly. I don't.
Bro.
On tape, that foot you let the IG thing was one thing,
And it's Disney.
right? You
We
think
both know
Mickey
how
gonna
it is.
let you. That's why like, I'm taking a leave of absence. No. Mickey told you to take a leave of absence.
Yeah, they said you gotta go. We know how this goes. The thing is, bro, and this reminded me of that KD tweet. Stop calling other grown man. That's not your uncle.
Facts.
You're a
Facts.
disrespect. You're a disappointment to him. Like, you know what? He was right.
Look, if you're trying to be Unc, you have to show the acumen that you're actually Unc. Unc is like OG. OG supposed to put you on game. OG supposed to help you avoid the pitfalls that they made so you don't make the same mistakes.
Exactly. Basic killer say, whose man is this?
And this man is out here 50 plus years old, damn near 60, running after 19-year-old OnlyFans chicks and not even baddies at that. Like I said on the pod, like Derek Jeter showed y'all the way.
Dude, Miss B Nasty was shooting at you.
And you didn't know what to do with it. Samoa went up there and gave you the blueprint, told you to stop messing around with these young girls, go find something closer to your own age, and you laughed it off.
You laughed it off, bro.
Now your whole empire is crumbling because you laughed that off.
It's
You
sufficient.
had an auntie giving you game, and
It's sufficient. You say it all the time.
have you ever seen the graphic, and I hope I can find it, the Derek Jeter starting nine of the Johns that he's allegedly was with?
No, I ain't seen no.
Derek Jeter had it so crazy. Starting
Actually, Maldo may have showed this to me. That's showing you something. This sounds kind of familiar.
So this man, is this the picture? All right, well, these are just the names. We're talking about Jessica Biel, Jessica Alba, Vita Guerrera, Tyra Banks, Gabby Union, Jordana Brewster, Scarlett Johansson,
Oh, man, didn't miss.
Mariah, Minka
Yes.
Kelly. Like, and this was peak of all of them.
Man didn't miss. That Jessica Alba was a
She was tough.
Jesus.
TUFF, tough. And this is, and no, there was no tea, there was no scandals, there was no, the Yankees gonna have to suspend him. He knew what to do.
No. Jimmy
Give them a gift
Garoppolo.
basket, give them some bread, sign this NDA, and I wish you well. Thank you for the night. Thank you for the buns.
Tweak. He gave it to you. Jimmy Garoppolo was spotted with a porn star.
Right. Right.
Just like we just went to Applebee's. Come on.
We just let it happen. Oh yeah, here's the actual, yeah. Starting 9 for your man's Derek Jeter, who had the blueprint. No problems, no scandals, no
having Tyra
career
Banks at
jeopardy.
DH is crazy.
DH Tyra, and this is before Next Top Model, before she fell a little bit. Peak Tyra. So I had Mariah at the peak and Tyra and Skojo
Yeah,
and Jessica Biel and Albert. Like, dog, this is a Hall of Fame lineup.
it is.
Me
It's,
and you have
it's,
had conversations about lackluster rosters. This is the
it's,
complete antithesis of
it's
that.
impeccable.
Yeah. Why can't dudes follow this blueprint? Give them gift baskets. This man literally had well, allegedly had an apartment upper east side of Manhattan, and we all knew what was going on up in that apartment. If you posted up long enough, you might see a supermodel or two or three stumbling out of there about 3, 4 in the morning, right into a black Escalade and zoomed off back to the crib to drop them off because he's keeping it airtight.
Man, he gave y'all a blueprint.
The blueprint was right there. And these dudes are on OnlyFans, sending the bread through Cash App, sending the bread through Zelle. We zelling for buns
Tricking
in
it up.
2025? When you M's up,
M's.
$100 million deal, allegedly. I don't know how much I really believe that, but the report came out. We'll take it at face value. But you tricked off 100 M's
For that,
for a 19-year-old mid-pack?
it's sufficient.
That tells me you weren't getting it back in the day, because you knew how to decipher the ones to go for and the ones to just, for lack of a better term, use it and abuse it and keep it pushing. Like, you knew which
Exactly.
ones to decipher. If you don't know which ones to do that at your big old age, at
Bro,
55
you
plus,
60, bro. You're a grandpop at this point. What are you doing out
bruh,
here? What are you doing out here? You go be playing Pinochle. Come on, bro.
just doesn't make sense, bruh. Doesn't make sense. Shout out to Scrub Zero Heavy in the chat. Always appreciate you, bruh. Yeah, man. This man, the captain was the captain. He was the captain, bruh.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I
you don't put up these numbers. These numbers here, this is Canton. This is
That's Joey Chestnut
Springfield,
goat
Matt.
status.
Exactly. This is the dynasty right here.
That's untouchable.
This is a dynasty.
That's a steel curtain lineup right there.
You know, Hope said he make the Yankee hat famous than a Yankee can. Nah, bruh. Nah.
Nah,
That
that
Yankee
lineup
hat
bad.
is symbolic. That Yankee hat was in the gift basket allegedly. No.
That's crazy. That's a lineup right there.
Bruh. This here. Now, Stephon Diggs is building a similar one. I don't think it'll be this though.
He's shucking and driving, but it ain't
But
prime Jessica Alba, Scarlett Joe, and Tyra.
I mean, not
Cardi
many
ain't
to
touching her,
say they took down Mariah. Not many.
No.
Eminem tried, he got blocked, and he got 3 or 4 diss songs made about him on a goddamn R&B album.
Insane. Remix goes crazy.
I mean, when you're in the same class as Nick Cannon, take that for what it's worth. But Jeter had it first. To quote Ray J, Jeter had it first. Nick Cannon.
Even Jessica Biel. That's a Timberlake
Tough
song.
too.
That's Timberlake's old lady.
So again, Shannon knows he knows Derek Jeter, or he has access. He might not know him specifically, but he has access to link with a Jeter to get the game. And I'm sure
Tweaking.
Jeter has put a lot of other people on game of how to move.
For sure. Has to.
Crazy. Well, Steph, I don't want to hold you up anymore. I appreciate your time as always, bro. Me and you can always go back and forth with this type of
Amen.
shit all day, like we used to do.
Know that.
But always appreciate you pulling up. Looking forward to having you on again as the playoffs get going deeper, as we get to the real rounds of the playoffs and shit like that, and as NFL season comes around with the previews and all that. Me and you will be tapped in on that. So
For sure.
thank you so much for pulling up, man.
Hey, man, like always, I appreciate the invite. It's always a good time, bro. As you see, we can do this shit forever, man. Like I said, I appreciate you. Everybody like, subscribe. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. And everybody else, Scrub Zero, everybody else that was able to tap in on the chat. Reed, I saw you pop in for a little bit. I appreciate all of y'all for being able to tap in. Shout out to Elise who pulled up earlier. Everybody who was able to tap in, listen, watch, subscribe, hit the like button, all that good shit. And we'll catch y'all again on the next one. I'm D Sam D for the D Sam D podcast. We out.